Hello! I did it! I clicked the button the first time. It didn't take me 3 times to unmute. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 26th edition. We've been doing these every month for 26 months straight. It never gets old. So, welcome, everyone, to the Q&A. Yeah, it's we basically just sit around, answer a bunch of awesome questions that you guys ask us over in our Discord, !Discord and chat if you want to join that. I'm Goknak, I'm the project lead and development lead of Momentum Mod. Joined here today with some of my lovely team members. We'll go down the list so you guys can introduce yourselves. We also got some new faces, as you may see, on stream. And yeah, we'll go from there. Just alphabetically down the list. So I think that's Tom.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hi.
Mm.
Hey, I'm Tom. I'm web development lead, and I do UI design and stuff as well.
Lots of web stuff. You might have seen his stream, or sorry, their stream yesterday. You were doing. Oh, it was? Okay. Never mind. Don't watch that stream. Okay. We'll delete the VOD. Ignore that. Ignore that I said that.
No, yeah. Well, I'll talk about my section in a minute when we do the stuff.
No, that's fair. Okay.
But yeah, I'm doing the web devs.
Cool.
Panzer.
Hey, I'm Panzer. I'm currently working on the Defrag game mode and BSP Convert, which is an open source tool for converting BSPs from Quake 3 into Stratosource. And I'll have a new Defrag map to show off after the Q&A. So look forward to that.
We also have wait. Oh, you were going off of webcams. We have XB Man on webcam.
Yes, I am. I'm a surf mapper, and I just do a bunch of busy work for Momentum. Just anything that needs to get done. Yeah, I can talk more in the next slide, I think.
Yeah, learn section stuff. We also have 3 people not on cam. If you guys want to go introduce yourselves as well.
Is Happy here?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi, my name is Happy. I am localization lead for this beautiful game. I'm also one of the sound designers still. I do stuff pretty much. That's all.
Hi, am I next?
Yeah, that
Hi.
makes yeah.
Hi, I'm Lumia. I'm here again. Sorry. I work on Defrag.
Don't apologize for showing up. That's awesome. It's awesome to have you here. Unfortunately, Lumia's back.
I know none of us wanted me to be here.
No, I want the entire team here, but it's awesome when because it's availability, right? People show up whenever they can, so it's variability. And sometimes it's not 4 webcams, sometimes it's just 2, like last time. But and then I think Mac. That leaves Mac, right?
Hi, that's me. I'm also working on the BSP Convert tool, and I'm also doing the learn map stuff mostly.
Oh yeah, learn stuff. I mean, I guess we could start with learn section stuff if you and XB Man want to talk about that with our traditional question that we always have. What has everyone been up to?
I think Mac has probably more to say about that than I do right now.
That's fair.
Yeah, I've just been making very brief changes to the Defrag learn section. I got some new feedback, so I've made some changes, made some things a bit more obvious. So it's coming along.
Nice.
And is there anything else you've been working on, Mac?
BSP Convert. Same as always. Currently working on getting textures to convert properly, because at the moment we're having a bit of an issue with transparency, because OpenGL shaders are a mystery.
Oh yeah. How Quake did transparency compared to Source is, it's wild.
And is this like your first thing that you've ever done, like in C#?
It's my first thing doing any sort of coding. Yeah, I've been learning coding for about 4 or 5 months now, I think it's been, and it's gone pretty well, I think.
Yeah, it's always awesome to see people jump in, even on the team too. on the different open source projects that we have over on our GitHub. And by the way, if you're interested in helping out, right, BSP Convert is one of our tools that allows us to convert Quake 3 maps directly over to source map format. So it started by Panzer. Max helping out with that. And if that sounds interesting to you, feel free to reach out to Panzer. And we have a tooling channel over in our Discord that you can join as well to ask questions. We accept any and all help, and that could get you a key as well if you help contribute. But it's awesome to see that. Sorry that Quake is giving you Quake shaders are giving you trouble. We're trying to convert old like textured maps over to a new like shader format. So it's having some trouble with transparency, like transparent textures. But yeah.
I guess I can go next.
Yeah.
People are saying that I'm quiet. I don't know if I have to like get closer to my mic.
Yeah, I have you on 100 and I can turn you up to 200. Try now.
Hello. Can everyone hear me?
I can hear you just fine, but hopefully others can too.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't been working as much on the learn section recently. Granis and I do have like a big document of stuff that we want to make. It's just I haven't been opening Hammer in my free time as much as I should. Yes, I can fix my mic by posting a key in chat. Yeah.
Happy's got you covered there.
I did not even interpret that as a key, but yeah. But yeah,
That's just how Happy types,
Most of the stuff I've been doing recently has been just like being there for the meetings surrounding the new zoning refactor and kind of providing my perspective as like someone who's been an admin on us like TF2 surf servers and stuff. Just what we expect from the zoning system and trying to get that all worked out. And it's going pretty well. I think Rio's been doing a lot of good work. I'm happy with how all the documentation is looking, and It's given us a pretty clear picture of what our zoning refactor is going to be. And like, I think when it comes to actually like implementing everything, it's not going to take very long since we have everything kind of already figured out.
Yeah. Well, do we want to? I mean, we're doing everyone section by section, but I think a lot of us are just all going to be talking about this one thing.
This one thing, right?
Yeah. Do you want to introduce the zoning refactor, Nick, and what?
Yes. Yeah, but before I do also want to touch on the learn section. So you might have heard that. The learn section are a bunch of maps that we're going to be creating for each game mode that allow you to practice the individual like mechanics of each mode. So it's like our built-in like tutorial system for the game, because people are going to need to know how to do things in the game, right? So what better than actually playing and like seeing, an explanation, seeing it in game, having a dedicated section for it, rather than finding some YouTube video somewhere or like finding a map and grinding it somehow. So it's very, very important. Yeah.
There's an early version of the Surf as well as a bunch of other game modes that are already available. So if anyone wants to check that out that hasn't already, like we'd love to hear your feedback.
Yes.
And kind of give us ideas for what else we need to cover.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Is there a forum post in the Discord?
Yeah, I think there's a section for all of them.
Forum. There's a called like learn.
Yeah.
And there's one specifically for surf. And please put it in there, not in feedback, just because organization and all.
Yeah, just keeping the learn section stuff.
So right now, the learn stuff that is in game is pretty jank in terms of like the maps are sort of work in progresses, but then the actual like UI and underlying programming for it is awful. I wrote it is awful.
It's not because
it was
of that.
deliberately done as like a very quick and dirty way of getting a sort of system that works. We currently have to launch in mapping mode, which is also awful. Mapping mode is stupid.
Mapping mode
get rid of that.
Very dumb.
That's a really old thing that we've been planning to get rid of for a while, but that's been in momentum for years and years, and will go eventually. But with the learn stuff, that's another thing we've been sort of specking out lately. The main focus has been learn, though. The main focus has been zoning, which we'll talk about in a sec, but learn we did a little bit of a couple of months ago. We have a Google Doc with like, sort of lists of like triggers and stuff we know we're going to need. We've done a little bit of stuff in terms of like maps can now make you look at a replay, which is one thing that Learn Map has asked for. though the way like watching replays for a specific stage of the learn section works will all be sort of wired up to game code and very sort of standardized. So yeah, at the moment learn is all very rough and dirty, but we're really looking forward to like actually working on that fully. And it's another one of the things where the actual technical side of it, game code wise, is probably not super hard. The UI definitely needs work, but is also not super hard. A lot of it is just actually sitting down and implementing it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Zoning. Should we talk about the next
Yeah, I'll jump over to the other main topic. What literally everyone, right, all the devs and stuff have been up to. We are currently in the middle of refactoring our zone format. So zones are the triggers all around a map that tell the timer when to start, when to stop, when you hit a split, right, when you hit like a checkpoint or a stage. And different modes require different things, right? Like, so different modes might have different start conditions, right? For bunny hop, it might start on jump. For, surf, it's when you leave the zone, stuff like that. So we have been, right now, the current system that's in the game is really only designed for like surf and bunny hop. And jump kind of just worked out in the for it. And what we're currently going through is just every single mode that we are going to support and just seeing the needs of those modes. And what like, does Defrag need something specific? Does, do these weapon modes need anything like weapon state, for example, right? Like resetting things like, your projectiles that you've shot out and all of the different conditions like that. We're looking at a better way to format all of it. So like right now, right, we have kind of the distinction between stage and linear maps where there's like, it is inherently a staged map or inherently a linear map or something like that. But what we want to start to do is branch that out to be like, okay, so we're going to actually have, the terminology is actually just going to change to be checkpoints, but there's going to be major checkpoints and minor checkpoints. And how that's visualized to the player depends on what you're playing and like the context around that. So for example, you can still have stages. Those are going to be major checkpoints, right? And then you can actually have minor checkpoints in between major ones. So you can have splits in between stages. So you can have stages with checkpoints, basically, right? Like in our current terminology, but the new one's going to be just, it's major stages and major checkpoints and minor checkpoints that you go through the map and hit. And then there's other conditions around that. Like some maps might not require you to hit all of them in order, right? Like sometimes you can just go any direction you want to, but as long as you hit all of them, right? So they're unordered, but they're required. And then there's also like, you could like, they're unordered and not required, which is like you can hit them if you want to get a split. I don't know how many maps might have that combination, but yeah. So we're really just redesigning a lot of how the flexibility around like our timer interpreting how you're playing the map. And allowing mappers and zoners, right, like to be able to fully like express how they want players to play their map. And so that's really the biggest thing, because right now they're all required and ordered, right? And so we're opening that up more, and I'm really happy with the progress. Like as mentioned, Rio has been doing a lot of great work. Panzer's also been doing amazing work with kind of questioning a lot of or bringing in a lot of reference to from like Defrag. For example, there are other games that we're pulling inspiration from as we're going through this, and it's taking a while, but we want to make sure that we're getting the right foundation, because once we get that, we can start to create cards, and the website starts to support the new zones. Our in-game zoning tools start to get updated, and you can now create them, and then having the actual game code to interpret and I guess go forward with our new format, right? Like all of that can start to happen in parallel, because again, all of our devs right now are giving input on this, but then we can start to break it out and start to progress more and more. So tons of great progress, and this is just the zoning refactor, which is 0.11.0. Or sorry, 0.10.0. 0.11.0 is going to be the replay refactor. So when you do a run, what's recorded and played back, right? Right now, we don't even store any weapons or, they're very basic, very basic replays. So we're working on a format that's going to record pretty much everything that's needed for a run and the related state to that. And then being able to still have that very convenient feature of being able to jump, anywhere in the replay. We'll have even more features around jumping forward to a major checkpoint, skipping over the fails that happened in a major checkpoint stage or anything like that. There's a lot of great features. We'll incorporate things like SVR directly into the game, so you can record your runs in one click and stuff like that. So lots of great features that are going to be coming, and that's the replay refactor at 0.11.0, and then 0.12 and onwards is going to be like anti-cheat and just kind of the I think anti-cheat would be the main like required thing after the replay refactor, but we got to do replays first because replays are important for anti-cheat.
Technically for 0.12 we've got the learn stuff is kind of in as 0.12, and then anti-cheat is 0.13. But learn stuff is kind of already ongoing, and we're sort of viewing it as like the really sort of essential milestones that like cover the really sort of most fundamental parts of the game are zoning, replays, anti-cheat.
And just to touch on that again, we're all volunteers working on this in our free time, so there can't be dates. I can't set like a hard date, but what I can do, right, is plan this out so that we all swarm a shared thing at the same time, where everyone's on the same page of what we're working on, and then we can use that, you know, free time and passion that we're using to make the game to focus and get things done in the right order. So while we're on 0912 or whatever now, right, like we're still working on the game, we're still pushing out bug fixes and minor features and stuff like that in the meantime, but we are as a team working on these bigger ticket items until we get basically all the way to 013, and then after that it's release time, baby, like that. You know, like it's gonna be great. So that's the reason why, you know, it might feel like it's taking forever, but at least we have you know, we have those weekly drops. We do key drops in chat here. You know, we want you guys to play and give us feedback as we're doing these giant refactors and implementing them. But once we start to actually implement and ship these, that's when we start to open the gates a little more and more to get more people in and testing things. And basically at 012, 013, right, that's basically when we're going to be like, once we're like solid on our anti-cheat and confident in it, that's 1.0, right? Like we're ready, and then we start prepping for that release, and we can set a date. We can start to plan events around that. I want to do like a really long stream. I'd love to, you know, like celebrate this giant milestone. So thank you for your patience as we're getting towards that, because it's, again, every single like week we're making excellent progress, and it might not be visible all the time, but we're trying our best to at least, you know, give out keys and you know, be transparent about what we're doing in this, and then in Discord as well if you're asking us, you know. So
well, on the topic of progress, if I could add, like I would say that like the sort of start of this year, the sort of January, sort of February-ish, like I think we were going a bit slower than usual. Just in that I think we had quite a lot of different people, sort of different personal stuff going in life. Like Nick moved, obviously.
I moved.
Me and XP have also moved. And
I've roommates.
I don't know. I think
God damn it.
A very literal sense. But I think we did need to like actually really consolidate, sit down, and really start focusing on 010, because we were like, I don't want to say sort of dallying, but like partly because that's just a silly word. Who the hell says dallying? It was, I think, zoning stuff. Like we talk about like the zoning format, which is obviously a big part of it, but there's also just been some really sort of fundamental questions with the game that like the whole thing touched on. One of those that Nick sort of already talked about is sort of the relationship with like stages and checkpoints and that kind of stuff, and all these sort of discontinuities between terminology between different modes and stuff like that. But also like these kind of more open questions of like ranking, like sub modes, how different certain maps you can play in different modes, other things like that. These really kind of complex open questions we've had, where like we kind of want to have a system that can be sort of pretty versatile. We want to, in some cases, say allow people to play, you know, bhop maps or Ahop maps or whatever in like
Defrag.
bhop, for instance, stuff like that, or Defrag. Like Ahop canals came out at quite an interesting time that made us think about that quite a bit. But also just sort of generally just ranks and like what different stuff you get ranks for. Like one thing that I think we sort of mistakenly had planned out for a while was we weren't going to rank bonuses, for instance, and now we have. I've convinced Nick, or we've convinced Nick. I think Nick was more against it at first, and then we ended up sitting down. At least that was how it was sort of planned out for a while, that we weren't going to do ranks for bonuses, right? But then we did sit down and more and decided that actually, we can make this work and make it a lot more sensible.
Yeah, because the UI could be updated to support tracks, right? Because that's what they are.
And that's one of the sort of really fundamental things. Is we're talking about the refactoring the format, and that has been our sort of really main focus of our like late night meetings and stuff. At least late at night for me. For the last sort of 3 weeks or for the last couple of months, we've been doing generally a big spec like meeting a week. But then for the last 3 weeks, we're doing 2 a week. So we were doing about 5 hours or so a week, which was actually pretty tiring because we just sit down and all discuss with in front of one massive shared Google Doc that's about 50 pages long at this point. We've got a really, really big doc. And that was not meant to be. It's been sort of touching on the formatting, but also stuff like UI, how the web stuff integrates. Like a big thing is thinking about the data structures of how we store the zone files in game versus how they're stored in the website in DB. Think about how we so SQL tables, and also how we optimize some of that, potentially how we optimize some of the ranking servers. We've been talking about that a little bit. There's a lot of it's been a big mixture of these sort of quite sort of philosophical questions about the way we want the game to work and like what the player experience should be, and how basically sort of how much freedom we can give people to like play, make as many maps sort of competitive without making it so that you get a rank of sort of stupid maps, stuff like that. And
oversaturated with just like tiny maps.
So a lot of these sort of quite game design, user experience focused things, but then also a lot of stuff in terms of UI, web infra, stuff like that, where that's the thing that I think has been really hard, and maybe one of the reasons that we've not sort of fully tackled O10 until now has been that there's just it's having to juggle a lot of different things at once. Oh, thanks for the raid, Al or Tim Con.
Hey.
I think that's Al.
That's Al. We will be playing some Defrag actually. Welcome everyone.
In a couple of hours.
Yep. We got some maps to play. We're gonna show.
I need to actually upload those. I'll do.
Okay.
It takes like 2 seconds. But there's so a lot of. It's not. I want to say it's really not just zoning that we've been talking about. It has been like a lot of the game. Yes, the scope of the game has increased a lot in the last 3 years or so. And some of the stuff that we had initially planned for O10 as sort of zoning refactor of we're still doing a lot of those, but it's been a much more complicated task, like getting this all to make sense than it was before.
And it was just rocket jump, and sea jump.
The thing that's so nice about it is when we realize how to make sense of it, and I think we're actually all at a point where generally we're all really pretty happy with it. Having had a lot of back and forth discussion, a lot of disagreement over stuff, like we're actually really made a ton of progress in the last couple of weeks, especially. Where, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought.
We're all happy, with all the modes working, working with what we have designed.
What I was going to say is what we're realizing now is that's been a massive part of it. It is a massive part of the zoning refactor, and actually a lot of these changes are relatively simple. Again, they cover a lot of different areas, but they're not massive refactors in any one area necessarily. In some cases, somewhat. Some of the zoning code is kind of bad, and we probably will sort of rip it out and redo it, but that code is
very
not particularly complex anyway. It's kind of stuff that sort of writes itself. And in fact, a lot of what we're currently thinking about in terms of what we're going to be doing with zoning is sort of relying on technical stuff that was probably way harder to do than the zoning stuff, in particular the save state system that Rio's worked on. We're going to be using that really heavily when it comes to just map resets, and that's something we've been talking about a lot, where we have this, we really like the idea of we can change a map state to be literally like it was the moment you loaded into the map, and we can do that in a single tick, no loading screen, anything like that. And it's just this super powerful system that right. So we can do that not just for save states, but also just for sort of anything. Also the green zone, which I think is being sort of simplified and is not really a thing anymore. But so again, I've lost my train of thought. Mac has distracted me. But all these really complicated things that we sort of managed to boil down pretty well now, and now that we have boiled it down, it's relatively simple, and we're pretty happy with it. We spend a lot of time trying to not do a million different zone properties and stuff like that, trying to find a system where we can have as few random properties and stuff whilst allowing the widest range of maps possible. Where, we think about a fuckload of edge cases like Surf Fast and like the
There's a whole document of just edge cases. Yeah. Like Rio has a giant list, giant doc of his own, that has all these edge cases.
All surf maps.
Yeah, it's just surf.
There's a lot of surf.
It's
But
just surf too. Yeah.
Surf
Surf
just
kind of has the most
crazy.
restrictions, though, right? It's like every other mode is just like do whatever as long as you start mode at some point.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's something that's also been hard is those restrictions. Like defrag is quite open, especially because the defrag start zones do tend to be really small. But sometimes you can do weird stuff in that. So trying to figure out how we make that work so it suits defrag and other stuff. And generally trying to not have a loads of game mode specific behavior to try and get something that suits everything pretty well. That's just fundamentally really, really hard to do, and it's taken a really long time. But I'm pretty happy with the progress of it, and it's been really nice having people from all sorts of different modes. Where I'd say probably Surf and Defrag, maybe the two that have had the most sort of edge cases and sort of things we've discussed the most. But every mode, we've talking about Climb a lot, for instance. Like we're not planning on doing Climb before 1.0, though we might. We'll see.
Dev effort, if there's enough motivation.
It's this thing, like, the actual movement and stuff is quite simple, and because we kind of have a clearer picture of, we could potentially do. I don't know how much we want to reveal about it now. I guess we can, but like in terms of stuff, like we will probably have some variants of different KC variants. They might not necessarily be ranked, but we could potentially add the unranked stuff now, maybe, and start testing some of that stuff. I mean, we've at least got a lot more clarity as to what we want from Climb, even. So
Anyway, keeping the button to start the timer, personally.
Yeah. The button start. XB man, were you trying to say something?
Oh, I was just saying that just Surf is a lot more restrictive, just because there's exploits that we would ban in Surf. I think people like the rocket jumpers would be like, "Oh, that's so cool. That's just a feature."
Yeah, it's just built in. Yeah.
But I don't know. Rio's coming at it from the experience of running Surf servers on CS:GO for years and having to deal with everyone complaining, I guess.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of edge cases you run across.
And what's nice is that we are a fresh slate, and hopefully people are viewing us like that too. We're very familiar with the game modes that you're coming from, but we are 1.0 is a completely fresh slate. So these new, we're taking some liberties with our new zoning system to kind of, in combination with the fact that we're a fresh slate, to hopefully deliver an experience that's consistent, even across modes, because we want you to try multiple modes, but we will, we don't judge you if you stick to just one or something, your favorite. And then I wanted to add real quick too, after all of this is done, I'd love to publish it. I'd love to have it published on our docs, get our long doc onto our docs site, and get it in your face so you can see it, Okay, sorry. But having kind of all of our specs public so that people can see what the fuck all the terminology means, but also our approach to it and how it's implemented and things like that, without even having to go into the game to see it. So that's really important to me, at least, to have that, so you guys can see that, have that transparency, so it's not hidden server rules that change every time you break something. It's having it publicly available on our documentation.
One of the things, especially when there are some differences between the different modes, we kind of want, we'll probably put it in the Learn UI somewhere, I really like, I don't know if anyone that knows Overwatch's system, for some reason I go back to Overwatch's UI quite a bit. Overwatch is a terrible game, I've said that before on the stream. I think it's an awful game, but some of the UI is really good. So you can hold F1 in game and it sort of shows you sort of character stuff and stuff about the mode. We might do something similar to that, and also sort of show that in the Learn section. There's just sort of saying any specific rules. Like I said, we're sort of trying to avoid specific rules where possible, but and try to just keep a decent amount of continuity between each mode. Nonetheless, there's still cases where different modes have to have certain things differently. How resetting works a bit different in some modes, stuff like that. But also we'll probably just have some basic guides for the mode. We want to have a sort of summary of the Learn section and stuff, or of each mode in that Learn section anyway. Whilst we have spent some time in the last couple months reworking our docs site to make it less shit and not be running Ruby,
It's done now. Well, it's not running
We
Ruby. It was
do.
compiled by
Well, it's-
Ruby.
Yeah.
It's yeah, but
Really
it's
like is to bring some of the text from the doc site on the descriptions for game modes in particular, and maybe even some of the game mode history, maybe not the history, but more some of the stuff from there, and actually bring that in game and have that as. So we'll probably have some sort of general sort of introductions to overall game modes there in the Learn UI, but also those specific rules for zoning. Panzer next speed are really bored, so I'm gonna stop talking.
Yeah, I think it's Panzer's turn to let us know what they've been up to.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yeah, that is.
Yeah, mostly just BSP convert. Actually, just released version 0.0.3 alpha in the tools channel. So if you're in the Momentum Discord, definitely check it out. Make sure it's working, and if it's not, create some GitHub issues or just let me know in the Discord.
yeah, because there are thousands of defrag maps that we're going to try to be bringing in. Yeah. 1,000. Yeah. Don't need the price master for that one. But it's it's a lot. But we're aiming to support as many as it makes sense to. I mean, I'd like to have all of them in some capacity, but there's some maps that might not fit. Like it might be like a 2-second map or something where it's like, okay,
Yeah,
whatever.
you don't want all of them.
Okay. It's kind of the same case with like bunny hop too. There's thousands of bunny hop maps, but like there's a couple hundred maybe really really good ones to have for 1.0. So so we'll be really ecstatic to see people testing out that tool with known defrag maps that could be good to port over. And it's let Panzer know in the Discord, or open some GitHub issues. Test it out, let us know if it's broken.
Did we get a Linux build in the end, by the way? Wasn't
No,
following.
I didn't have time,
Okay.
and I don't have a virtual machine set up to even test it.
Okay.
It's command line, right? Do it on a server or WSL or something.
What was that?
Isn't it command line? You can just do it in WSL. Anyway, we don't need to do this now.
There's just GitHub action for it. But anyway,
Happy, what have you been doing?
Music.
I've been doing probably localization stuff. That's all I've been doing. Momentum wise, I've been doing a lot of stuff like I have a side hustle, but I usually I don't know, just localization music. Looking for some reference we can use for campaign. So yeah, not a lot.
No, that's fair. Localization, I'll touch on that too. If you know any other language than English and want to help out translating our user interface over to that language, we have it'd be best to join our Discord first because we have a lot of resources there. But we have a PO editor page that lets you just basically help out there, and helping translate also gets you a key. Though please be diligent about like what you're doing. Don't overwrite people's other work if you don't know what you're doing or anything like that. Like, make sure that you're in our Discord talking to other people that are also translating. We have a forum channel for it, and each language is a sub channel in that. So please use that to discuss any questions that you may have. PO editor's comments system is pretty shit, so we're hoping people can use the Discord. Yeah, we have like a warning now when you sign up.
It tells you don't leave comments because we can't read them. That's so annoying to read.
It's so annoying to get to. You have to go to like each term individually to see them, and it's like there's not like a dashboard for all the. Anyway, I'll probably open like a little support ticket or something for them to see if they're interested in improving the comments. I doubt it, but anyway.
I think the new UI might a little bit, but frankly, Discord is just better because
it
I
is.
can check Discord on my phone and answer stuff just whenever. I don't want to do that for Poet Editor.
Poet Editor. Whatever it is. However you pronounce it. It's just easier to use Discord for that, but. Just wanted to note on that because, and then if you really, really like a language and really want to represent it, we're looking for localization leads in a bunch of languages, actually. I need to get the list so I'm accurate, but we have a lot of languages that do not have a, a representative that can proofread and lock, terms that are good from being, edited. Oh, yeah.
It's Arabic. It's Vietnamese, I think I pronounced it.
Vietnamese.
Thai, Thai language, Romanian,
Hmm.
Greek, and Ukrainian. That's the languages we need localization lead for. So if you're interested, hit me up.
Yes. Please join our Discord and hit Happy. You can also forward to me too if Happy's not online or you can't find their profile. Just PM me. My DMs are open. But yeah, so definitely if you're interested in that and helping out and representing your country and language, feel free to help out with that. We really appreciate that because yeah, we don't know every language on the team, so it's good to get community contribution there. But yeah, and then I think last but not least we have Lumia. What have you been up to?
Well, recently there were a bunch of defrag fixes, so I was working on that. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think the game feels a lot better now.
Nice
Funky
funky boosts.
boost.
Yeah, funky boost, sticky step up was fixed. Various other things like being able to jump while forced crouched and chain double jumps and things. I've got some other fixes in the works, but I had to put them down because I went to go visit some family last week. So, yeah, just need to basically get back on that. There's also other things to do. The documentation for ammo stuff still isn't up because, I don't know, someone messed with our docs pages and moved it to a totally different system. So
it's not too bad.
Just give me a shout and I'll help you. It's like
no, I haven't.
It's crazy.
It's probably not that bad. I just haven't
Yeah,
gotten around to it yet.
If I manage to set it up with very little help, I'm sure
Yeah.
you'll manage.
I think all I need to do is just like rename the files or something, and then just
Yeah.
pretty
update
the tiny bit of stuff is the
Yeah.
shortcuts maybe, but yeah.
But anyway, looking forward to working on more zoning stuff once we start getting proper issues for that, concrete things to work on.
Yeah, it would be really fun. Just swarming it. All right, I think that's everyone here. But yeah, I mean, just like the whole team's just been kind of coordinated around zoning, so that's mainly it. There's a lot of miscellaneous fixes and features that are getting added as well. You can read the changelogs that we have, over on our blog and on our Steam page if you want to read more about what's been added. Tons of great like minor fixes and features and stuff like that. So, yeah, cool. Okay, all right. I think we can move to our first asked question with that.
Yes, 40 minutes into the stream.
We're on task. That's fine.
And we had shit to talk about.
All right.
It's all good.
Tazaoka is asking, will there ever be any trimping stuffs, or is it too niche?
Right on. Yeah. So this was this ties in with what we were talking about in the sub modes. So trimping and other sub modes like Beggar's Bazooka and maybe Airstrike, but that's still up in up in the air right now. No pun intended. There's a lot of modes like that we want to start to explore after we get the core 10 modes in. So KZ, I think Climb, right, would probably come first before trimping, but with the system, with the zone refactoring that we're doing, we are setting it up so that you can have sub modes, and so we can add things like trimping, beggars. We can add things like Half-Life 1 style bunny hop to bhop, stuff like that. We can add as sub modes under like a main mode umbrella. And so trimping is pretty niche, but if it's, I think it was Lumia, I think you implemented it in a branch. Like, it's possible to implement. It's, we can definitely add it. It's just a matter of getting that system in place so that we can properly expose it via the UI. And so the zone refactor helps with that. So I'd say maybe, but it's not going to be anytime soon, mainly because it's just not being like, it's not like a main mode that we want to really add right now. We got to get our core 10 in, and then past that we start looking at trimping. We start looking at sub modes of yeah.
The confusing thing with trimping is it's not really clear what mode trimping is a sub mode of, right?
Right.
Like, in TF2, it's demo, but trimping and sticky jump, I guess they do have the same base movement and walk speed, presumably then. So maybe it does end up being a sticky jump mode, but that doesn't really make much sense, right?
We
It doesn't
could
have anything to do with sticky jumping.
we could add it as like kind of how like Defrag has haste and stuff like that. We can add it as a mechanic under sticky jump, and where it's just actually just a map mechanic then, where you would have a sticky jump map that has trimping and
I think
or
they're
a trimp
very
only map.
fundamentally different, especially because in TF2 to trimp you need to have the shield equipped, right? Which
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you can't shoot.
So,
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
So
That means we can add grenade launcher.
Oh yeah.
Trimping is more of a serve because it has a lot of serve basics. I don't know.
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah, it's like you're going off of ramps. Yeah.
That's TF2 base movement still, but yeah, it's still it feels more like surf. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. It's so.
I don't think it really matters what like the sub game mode is from, as long as it's just, I guess, we choose one.
Yeah.
Well,
And
kind of.
it could be its own mode too. Like again, the system that we're building is like if it fits under an umbrella of an existing mode, like it's Beggar's Bazooka, for example, that's rocket jump, right? Quad rocket, that's rocket jump, right? Even though it is Conc style movement, right? Like so there's the umbrella of like the visual umbrella of what it's under, and then the actual like modes that you can play. But they're called sub modes because they're under that umbrella. So trimping, if it's its own unique thing, would be its own mode, right?
But it
It's
does
its
not
own-
deserve to be its own mode. Like,
That's just how we would categorize
it its own mode.
So it's what we're focusing on really is just unique movement gameplay because yeah, if it's very similar to an existing mode, you can kind of shrug it off as like, is this more of just a mechanic that we can add to a game mode and an already existing game mode that could go into maps as opposed to making it a mode? Or yeah, does it deserve its own mode category? So that's kind of what we have to balance, but it is pretty niche, so it isn't going to be prioritized anytime soon. Our core 10 modes, right, are what we're focusing on. So yeah, I guess that's really the answer there. Will there ever be? Maybe. We can definitely support it, but we have to figure out how to categorize it and represent it and get it into the game.
I think even before it would even become a sub mode, it would probably just be like a CVAR thing that you go turn on just for fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that would probably be the very like initial version of it. So I don't know, maybe you'd load sticky jump on some random map and then you set the trimping CVAR or something.
Yeah.
And I think that in order for it to become a sub mode, it would have to be something that people pick up and actually start making maps for. Because especially with trimping, you kind of have to play it on maps that are made for it. Like you can't play it on sticky jump maps. You could probably play it on some Ahop maps. That would be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Especially like canals or coast or something where there's like lots of slopes and stuff. But
Displacement trimping? Oh god.
well, that's how it's usually done. I mean,
Yeah.
you play
That's
random TF2
crazy.
maps and you find some,
Yeah, I feel like if trimping could maybe make sense as being a mode that we do slightly different from TF2, we maybe try and improve on the mechanic, but sort of do something inspired by it. Because that way we could actually make it into something that definitely does deserve to be a whole dedicated mode. Whilst I just worry that TF2 trimping is a bit like, does it deserve the status of like a full game mode? Probably not. Like, it gets quite a dedicated spot in bits of UI and stuff then in that case, which seems a bit odd. Whilst, does it really fit as a sub mode of any mode? Nah. So I don't know. I feel like better trimping maybe could be good. But,
I wonder how it would play with like auto hop.
Yeah, some kind of. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of fun we could have with it, but this is also the kind of thing that for 2.0, very far down the line, we haven't really seriously spec'd it out at all.
Scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. But game mode mixing then could do that kind of thing. I don't know.
For when we're bankrupt, nobody's playing the game. We add trimping, save momentum. So we'll see. We'll see when
trimping will be a paid feature.
paid DLC, the first ever paid DLC.
But we can't charge for that in game, so it'll only work as a web thing.
WebGL exclusive. Yeah, we'll see though. Like we're definitely open to adding things like that as just convars. Yeah, like that could be a dev like weekend project for a dev of just like adding the code and adding a CVAR for it and just having that like under mapping mode or turned off by default. but we'll see how to actually properly integrate it down the line. It'll be after the core modes though, for sure. Cool. Okay. Any other input for Tazaoka's question? All right. Thank you for that question. We'll move on to the next one.
All right. So the next question is from SowBug. They're asking, what sort of accessibility settings will we see?
This is a great question. I love this one. So in terms of accessibility, there's kind of two, I would say the two like main ways to view it is input accessibility, being able to maybe having a physical disability that prevents you from fully using your keyboard or mouse to the fullest, as well as a more visual accessibility for like seeing things better, like colorblind mode, things like that. So in terms of input, it might be a little harder, mainly because we don't have controller support. Controller support opens a lot for accessibility, because you can really, like, even Microsoft has that accessibility controller that's like kind of more of a flat pad that you can really bind different things to really, like, you can customize the shit out of it to better fit your disability that you have. And so that's really cool. But I mean, I feel like you could probably do the same with keyboard in a way, right? So that it's like it's usable, like maybe a custom keyboard or something like that that lets you better fits like your situation that you may be in. So I definitely see that as like kind of like not really our responsibility to do. I mean, maybe making it so that if there is like a dedicated accessibility controller that like acts as a keyboard, maybe we could try to like buy one and see how to better set up like settings and stuff like that for it. But when it comes to, I guess more applicable that I could talk to is visual accessibility settings. So realistically, right, our map review checklist is going to be like 20 pages long. It's going to be like our map review checklist that we'll have to add a map into the game will cover a lot of things like, yeah, is this seizure prone, right? Is it prone to producing seizures for those that are maybe more at risk of having them, like flashing lights, things like that? We really want to have a very like solid checklist around looking out for things that would be either malicious in that, in that regard of like, yeah, this will cause people to like, this will physically hurt people, versus like, oh, this could probably be brighter, maybe this section just you can't see anything, and like, or the colors are really matched, or as a colorblind person I wouldn't be able to distinguish where to go, things like that. We could try to have an accessibility checklist in our map review checklist, like our accessibility part of the checklist that goes through a lot of stuff like that. So we'll be able to, like, at least for the maps that we do have full control over, right, which maps get added, we can kind of go through and make sure that we're not adding maps that will be disadvantageous for people that might have a disability, visual impairment. So, or I guess, yeah, the flashing lights, more prone to seizure. So that is really important to us. It's not a wild west, like we're, washing our hands of all responsibility of like because right when a map is officially uploaded, it's like we kind of endorsed it to get there, because right, like it goes through its own process, which we're actually going to talk about. There's a future question, but yeah, like it should be a map that's enjoyable to play for pretty much everyone, right? Like as many people as possible. I mean, obviously there's going to be people that hate some maps, we can't control that, but we're going to make sure that like the map itself is very accessible for as many people as possible. It's really important, right? Like I don't want to be like, oh wow, you're more prone to have a seizure on this map, sucks to be you. That just that hurt even just saying that. No, I seriously I think that having just a deep enough checklist, right, we'll be able to catch a lot of things like that. Like if the map has a jump scare or something, like Five Nights at Freddy's surf map or something, like things like that. Just making sure that, yeah, like it's not obnoxious, or it's like it's thematic, it makes sense. And then yeah, fixing, right, because like we ideally have with the ability of Lumper, which is another tool that Bird's actually been working on. I guess that was something I could have brought up there too, is Bird's been working on Lumper, which is a map review tool. We're going to be throwing basically every map through it that allows us to see things like textures, if there's any problematic ones. We can see things like, models. We can see things like entity names, and then we can also see things and edit maps to be able to like not have to directly go to the mapper to be able to have like, you know, a map that's playable and isn't, you know, flashing lights and so on, you know, like things like that. So that's really, you know, that's a really nice tool in our pocket that we're going to be using a lot when it comes to this. So I'm hoping that, you know, with our review checklist, everything that we're missing and things like that, we can very easily update this checklist. And then on the topic of publishing, I'd love to have that checklist be public so that mappers know what we're going to be looking for when we go into it. So yeah, I can't give concrete accessibility settings right now, but ideally there will be things like when it comes to like color, I think EA might have open sourced it. Some dev studio.
Yeah, there is one. Yeah.
Some dev studio opened their shaders for the colorblind mode and things like that we can easily adopt into our engine and have for colorblind affected persons. You know, so we will have things like that. It's really just a matter of one. So like if there are any accessibility settings that other games have that you really like, definitely make an issue, give us feedback in our Discord about that, and we'll look into it, because it is something that we want to consider. We don't want to push accessibility settings to the buy side, right? Like we really want to have the game be enjoyable by people that might have a slight disability or some disability that they can still enjoy the game if we add a couple of settings that help that.
Yeah, and having our UI and panorama as well, I think having it accessible in that way makes it a lot easier. If you needed something like a higher contrast or like a higher kind of text size or anything like that,
mm-hmm.
It makes it a lot easier. And even if we didn't have the perfect settings for you in the game, you're still able to modify it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a really good point. Our UI is fully open source as well, so you can actually create a custom HUD. I'm excited to see if there's people that make accessibility friendly HUDs, and then we could incorporate any of those things that come out of that into official settings to make it more accessible.
Yeah, I don't know if that might work better as an overall shader thing, something like high contrast. Maybe something UI specific. I think shader wise will be really good. Yeah, doing color post processing. Colorblind shader post processors.
Yeah,
could be really good. But yeah, with a lot of UI stuff, it's kind of, I mean, in terms of like, there's maybe some things we could kind of do based on like web accessibility standards, because web accessibility standards are really, really complex, and there's loads to get from there. You know, we absolutely don't. Our game UI doesn't conform to that, even though we do use quite a sort of web-based framework. It would be really hard to really fully get it to conform.
Right.
And I don't know, you know, like, there's just no way that, like, I mean, a lot of stuff there, like, doesn't make, I mean, you know, screen readers or something like that wouldn't make sense doing that support for momentum, because it's, you know, anyone with sort of major sort of site issues is unlikely to be able to play momentum. I don't know.
Yeah, it's so very fast paced.
It's really stuff like, we really need people to, like, it is a thing where people can bring up stuff that is within our, like, bounds to solve and to improve. Yeah. It's something we're very keen to work on, but it's, you know, some stuff that just seems sort of out of the possible scope of it. But yeah, text-based momentum.
Text-based defrag. That might be a good April Fool's. It's like, was it Zorg or yeah? Anyway,
how often do we say that? That could be a good April Fool's.
Yeah, right. We have a doc. I thought we gotta add.
Don't leak the doc.
We have so many docs. We have docs for like everything.
Like the next 10 years of April Fool's planned out.
Pretty much. Might have to do like a November Fool's too to like equal it out. Anyway, yeah, so any other input for SowBug's question?
Kind of topic one.
Yeah.
like I've read the article or something like they always adding like a dot in the middle of the center like mandatory to playing games like in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And like maybe you guys know how it works, like it's supposed to work. Like I know it's supposed to make you focus on things, but what what does it do in after? And can it be helpful in the momentum?
The dot in the center of the screen. I think in games where it's where the reticle is dynamic, like COD has the was it the 4 right around the reticle that grows with weapon bloom. I think a dot in the center just helps with centering your aim to where you still have to deal with gun recoil, but you would have like it's better for shooters. So maybe for like the weapon modes, right? Having just a dot, but we have full crosshair customization, which I don't think COD has. So I think that's already resolved by that. You would just have a dot crosshair via our crosshair settings. And there shouldn't be recoil. That would be a really dumb feature to add to momentum. Really funny though because it broke defrag for a while if you use the machine gun. But yeah, so there's things like that where it's like it's more just integrated into our UI of like, oh yeah, like if you want the dot in the center of your screen, we actually have that. You can just edit your crosshair to have that. Yeah, but that's a good point. Yeah, like we could look at how shooter games like the accessibility settings there and see if that applies to any of our weapon modes too. But definitely request like again like we're very community receptive of a lot of things like this. So if there are people in our community that have these disabilities that would love to have an accessibility setting to address it, that a prior game or anything like that has, definitely that's like prime like feature work for us. We absolutely want to support that. So let us know, right? For sure. All right. Cool. All right, we'll move on. Thank you, SowBug, for this question. We'll move on to the next one.
All right, the next one's from Linguistie. They're asking, are you planning on adding a way to quickly replay a demo of the current unfinished run to analyze the wanted segment?
Yes.
And they're kind of, it was in the context of like, if you do something that's crazy and you want to see how you did it, but you haven't finished the run, I guess.
Yes. Yes, we will be storing attempts. So the tab menu right now is just completed runs on the leaderboard. We will add another menu tab. I don't know how it's going to look yet, but there will be another section for all of the attempts you've done on the map. And what we can do is have settings around, you know, whether or not you want to keep it, whether it'll auto delete if you like leave the map or something like that. We can have a bunch of different settings, but yes, we do want to store replays of your partially completed runs, right? Of like you hit reset, right, or something, you have your replay that you can go and watch if you wanted to go back and see how you did something. And then this is in combination with the save state, right? You'll be able to play back a replay and then save the state from maybe where that replay messed up or something, or right before it, and then you can go back, right, and then use that save state to now, you know, play it and try to grind that like section or something. We really want you to be able to kind of like grind out specific parts of a map like that as easy as possible through the game, right? So yeah, absolutely. You know, segment or attempt replays like that combined with save states and stuff like that, it'll be really nice.
I think with this question, the way I'm reading it is asking about like a run that's still ongoing, like your timer's still going. Like you just did something and you want to go back and watch it again, but you haven't finished the run yet.
I mean, technically, we would have to write out to disk a lot. So if you want us to kill your SSD, if you want us to kill your SSD, we can write out every last 10 seconds of your run that you're currently doing, or something like that. Like we could do that, but it's again, it'd be doing a lot of writes as opposed to one write at the end of your run. Because it's in. Well, actually, no. Hold on. Let me think.
Could you just store it in memory?
That's what I was just.
Rolling shutter.
Yeah, right. Like a rolling buffer.
I forgot what RAM is.
Yeah, no, but it's like, I mean, it gets a little weird because it's like it's writing to a buffer that you'd be reading from. So I don't know how it's gonna handle that. I think it should work. I don't know if we'd have to duplicate data if you go to play it back, maybe we just copy it over to a new buffer so that you don't affect your current run that you're on. But yeah, no, that is possible. Now that I opened my computer science brain a little more. But yeah, no, I guess I was stuck on the idea of attempts. But we will also be doing attempts. So if you do a run and then like reset or something, you'll have that replay that you know, and then it'll delete when you leave the map or quit the game or whatever, right? Like we'll have settings around that. But yeah, we can also look into, in your current run that you just did, if you did an attempt on a stage or something and then failed, you can go back and re-watch the run that you're currently doing up to that point where you started watching. Yeah, that's doable. It should be, at least. You should be able to. I mean, we're allowing you to watch replays in the middle of your run, just I never really thought about watching the run that you're recording. But it is doable. Everything should be there. Right? So, yeah. Yeah, we'll have to make an issue for that. But yeah, we can do that. Any other input for Linguistie's question? Thank you. Thank you for asking that. I opened my eyes and woke up a little more, so we can definitely do it. But yeah, hopefully that answered that. We'll move on to the next.
All right, the next question is from Yanki. They're asking what maps won't be ranked. Will a map with gameplay that does not match the mode be added to ranked or unranked pools?
So we actually, we talked about this a lot in the zoning meeting too. So when it comes to maps that aren't ranked but added, they're usually very specific, either gimmicky or short or whatever beloved maps. Maps that are added that aren't ranked are typically ones that just the competitive nature of it just isn't really viable, right? Like it's really annoying to be competitive on it because it does something that's like not consistent, or it's 2 seconds long, or so, you know, like Freedom Puppies or something, like, you know, things like that where they're beloved, right? People grind them, and we'll have like an unranked leaderboard for it, but it won't be ranked. Like people don't have to play it to have their rank points, you know, go up or anything like that. So that's the distinction we wanted to make there with ranked and unranked, because realistically, right, every map that we're trying to add, right, is trying to be ranked. We want high quality competitive things, but when it comes to maps that like might not make that cut, we can still add it, but maybe unrank it just so that it's like it's something that you can play, and I guess like experience. It's more like an experience than like a something that you have to do. Like it won't count for like completion or anything like that either. You know, it's just a map that's like doesn't really fit, like I guess like having the timer like be competitive against others. What were you trying to say, Tom?
Well, I was going to say that I think you're sort of slightly skewing stuff towards saying that the amount of stuff that is going to be ranked. And the one thing we've been talking about quite a bit is like maps that are, you know, okay maps that are worth having a leaderboard for, but like are kind of gimmicky or just not great maps or kind of low quality maps. Like those will be unranked, and there will be quite a few unranked maps. Like I think, like if someone's rank getting added but not being unranked, we don't want to be like a massive like fuck you to that person. We're not saying that like this is a really bad map. It's more that, like,
because we won't add
like
those.
That, like,
yeah. I'll clarify. We won't add just absolutely garbage. You know, well, like if we're
the thing can I just appeal? I want to appeal to the doc that we've got. I want to say that the way we've written it is ranked. Oh, sorry. Wait. I might be getting those things I look, but roughly it's where we've written it as being is playable and reasonable gameplay experience. Unranked as being interesting gameplay, still worthy of a leaderboard, but maybe prohibitively difficult or gimmicky.
Yes.
And then disabled we have as a mode. Well, I sort of lose track between this is modes and submodes. This is, I think, for specifically submodes, but
yeah.
I thought the regular modes could have disabled maps or something where the
it's per like map. Yeah.
The map can be on the selector but won't have a leaderboard.
Yeah.
I think is the way we're doing it. I might be getting that wrong.
Those will be the very like Easter eggy kind of map sort of.
Yeah, but there are still maps that are for a specific mode, but ones that are just silly. That like there's no point competing for a time. So I think something like
what would we do with like a Pac-Man map?
That
Yeah,
so we're not
that'd
going
be
to allow
disabled.
user-submitted Pac-Man maps. We can, as a team, decide to put some maps like that in the game files, especially because they're quite small map files, I think. But those wouldn't be on the website.
Right.
Anything on the website is for a game mode. We won't add maps for the null mode. I don't think.
And what's important to note here too is that it's not just maps to think about that are ring, it's tracks, right? Because the way that we're also approaching this, and this is in the zoning doc, which I don't have on hand, right? I don't have the big doc on hand, but like I wish I did, because there's a lot of great notes about like, because like think about like playing surf maps, right? Like playing it in bunny hop mode, right, is just 100 tick surf technically, right? Like that's all it is. So like that would be a disabled track, if that makes sense. What we want to start to go towards, and this is gonna, this is the beauty of momentum, is maps will start to just be environments that you can play other modes in, right? So you choose the map, and the map has like like modes that are ranked, that are unranked, and that are disabled, right? So like a disabled mode would be bunny hop on surf maps, for example, because it's just 100 tick. That we already have 100 tick surf as a planned like sub mode down the line. So like, yeah, so like, there's things like that. But so it's really easy to see like, okay, the map itself is no longer what's like being ranked, if that makes sense. It's like what you're doing on the map. And like, yeah, if it's really gimmicky, like, yeah, like the description that Tom gave, right? If it's interesting gameplay, but otherwise, gimmicky and stuff, it'll be unranked for every single mode. But then there's maps that are ranked for specific modes because, they're built for those modes, or those modes play really well on them. And then there's like, yeah, like unranked Ahop on a defrag map, for example, where it's like, it's cool and you could probably do a completion, but we don't really want Ahoppers to go crazy on this map because it's like, it wasn't really built with Ahop in mind.
But crucially, like an Ahop player who's grinding for a high rank shouldn't need to play those defrag maps, right? To get a higher rank in Ahop. So they'll have a leaderboard, but won't give you the rank points.
Exactly.
And so I want to give an example. I feel like maybe like Rhodey's recent map, like sort of puzzle map. I don't know. It seems like some of the runs of that might be okay, but that might be something that is a good map that might end up still being unranked.
Yes.
And would still hopefully get played by a lot of people. We do want to still, encourage people to play unranked maps. Like some of the way we're talking about this is sort of kind of somewhat more focused on internal data structures, whilst in practice in the map selector, for instance, when we show like if a Mac is in the ranked or unranked tab, if we keep that, well, I'm not sure we will. That will be if like the main track for the mode it's intended for is ranked or unranked, right? Like, so, but maybe that UI will change sort of significantly, but like, but we will still have areas like to make, if a map isn't ranked, it's not a disaster. It's not saying to the mapper like this map is trash. It's more that like it's just not something that like benefits the game to have people compete over.
And this isn't something that we'll like reveal behind closed, like, after a grand closed doors discussion. We'll be in discussion with the mapper. So like if there's problems that could be addressed, well, you want them to be fixed.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like if the mapper's fine with it being unranked, we'll release it unranked. Like they'll know when they're submitting it. It's not like you throw it to us and like hope to God it gets ranked or something. Like we'll talk to you.
So in map review, we'll probably have a little checkbox for like in map submission. Sorry, we'll let people submitting their map say like, I want this map to be ranked, and like or that that's their goal, and then we can assess like, okay, if we don't think it's worth ranking, where this is the sort of core map review team that are also doing the sort of mod stuff and like checking for like porn textures and shit. They can give some feedback there of being like, this is something you could do to, bump it up a notch. And then also the player reviewers and stuff can give comments there, where I guess we'd maybe make it so like we might have a checkbox for like the map feedback submission that we'll have for people that are just doing the review that aren't like the map reviewers themselves, but just any player that can do this.
Right. Can
maybe tick like, do you think this map deserves to be ranked or not? And maybe that won't be very useful data because everyone's just going to tick yes for every map, but I don't know. We can play with it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, right? Like people want, it might even be ticked by default with it when it parses like the map name or something. Like it'll be like, oh, you're uploading a surf map. We already ticked ranked surf for like, you know, whatever. But yeah, it'll be nice to be able to kind of just like work with mappers that are submitting maps, you know, directly, as opposed to just like, oh, you throw it towards us and like we do our own backdoors, or you know, like yeah, like our own shit.
This map submission system is something we'll be working on for 010, by the way. This is one of the sort of core things that we need for 010, is people will be able to submit maps then. So 010 is not just the zoning update, it's also the kind of maps are
map Wild West, yeah.
And you can submit them and then they will get added, and then potentially they won't necessarily get added immediately to 1.0 if they're accepted in 010, but they might have a chance to, I'm not quite sure. But people can definitely be trying to make stuff that's at that standard, right? That can then be resubmitted just immediately. Or
I think map porting might be the more popular thing for 010. So people uploading ported maps, and then we just go through the process of checking.
And that's
those.
one of the massive reason that we've been working on Lumper, right?
Yeah.
It's Lumper is a tool specifically or primarily aimed at map porting, though it will also be used in review and other things.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Was there any other? Wait, sorry. Will a map with gameplay that does not match the mode be added to ranked or unranked pools? So gameplay that does not match the mode is where, yeah, that's probably more of like an interesting experience, but otherwise gimmicky. So that would be unranked. It'd be added to unranked.
But still playable.
But still playable.
If it's something like a surf map on bhop, that would be just disabled because there's no point doing. If you want to do that, just play 100 tick surf, right?
Right. Yeah. So. All right. Thank you, Yanki. Or Yanki. Which pronunciation? Who knows? Sorry for butchering, but thank you for that question. We'll move on to the next one here.
All right. Tazaoka is asking, do you plan to add any other movement text other than the ones already listed, if there are any?
Yeah. So if you're paying attention to the stream, we kind of hinted at a couple. So some things that we're thinking about are like alternate movement for bunny hop. So Half-Life 1 style movement for bunny hop. Just kind of like, you know, kind of like AG, but built on tick rate. So we'll see how that goes. Like, yeah, things like that, where it's just kind of like alt modes of existing modes, Beggar's Bazooka, trimping, things like that. We could definitely look into adding. Right now, the core 10 is just the main thing, though. So like we aren't really focusing on reaching out and looking at other like gameplay things, because we already have our plate full with the 10 that we already picked to have in the game. So that's our main focus, where the other movement text and kind of combinations and things like that, more towards 2.0. It's not really the most important thing to have for a public release. So it's, yeah, down the line. But parkour is probably the biggest one that's like not really in right now. It's Titanfall 2 movement. So very, very interesting like tech there of like wall running and sliding and oh god, yeah, there's a ton lurchless tech and stuff like that. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that we're gonna have to mimic, but that would be a goal at least to have in the game. And then yeah, what was it, different like a new defrag mode as well, of like where it's kind of more, I guess like it takes kind of like the different settings, or like CPM will be default, but we might have like a momentum mod style defrag thing. Like we'll be experimenting around with things like that.
Yeah, VQ3 and maybe the original Quake.
Yeah,
we can also do that.
exactly.
And also double ducking and climb might be a thing as well.
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna probably try to create our own climb style to make as the default, because while there are great sub modes there, it already exists, you know, kind of already with Global KZ and stuff like that. So we really want to kind of hone in on more of like what makes climb fun and different from just doing like bhop, and make that the mode. But we might offer the other existing like SKZ and stuff like that as sub modes. We'll see. Yeah. Sorry, so CPM is currently the default movement right now, but like we're going to expand it out to like, yeah, you can select VQ3 CPM, yeah, the original Quake one, or original Quake version, and then maybe our like custom momentum mod style. We'll see. But like things like that is really what we're planning down the line. It's just not very important right now. Like we're not even really looking to add more movement tech until we're done with replay refactor, I'd say, because that's like after that. Oops. Sorry about that. After that, yeah, like it's pretty much kind of the Wild West for devs as we're working on like getting 1.0 ready. So just miscellaneous features that we really want to try to get in for 1.0, we'll target those and go from there. But yeah, was there any other input for Tazaoka's question? Cool. Thank you for asking. We'll move on to the next one.
So Dan is asking, will Momentum Mod have Steam Workshop support once it comes out?
So that we've been asked this before, so I won't go too deep on this, but right now we use our own kind of map submission process for the maps. So Steam Workshop could be something that we add for things like, I don't know, HUDs. We can add it for custom things like minimal custom things like HUDs, and I mean. The main gist on why we don't use the Steam Workshop heavily right now is because there's only 2 modes for it. One where you vote on things to like promote to the creators of the game to actually officially add it, which is cool, but like like we have like, well, we'll actually talk about that's actually I think the very next question. We'll have that for our map submission, and then we have like we don't want like I guess like when it comes to cosmetics, we could do it for that, like where it's like cosmetics that we add to our store, we could have Steam Workshop be the way that people are like testing them out. So maybe that as well, and like custom HUDs and stuff could be there, but like you can't have like a free-for-all, like you can search and pick things out that you like as well as the vote. It's really dumb. It's very limited, and that's why we have our own map submission pipeline, because it's just we needed way more tooling than the Steam Workshop gives around that. It's very, very open, very libertarian. No, it's very open, and it's nice, but it's like it doesn't really fit our needs that we have for like the main.
Never work. We need so much flexibility for our map submission system. Doing Steam Workshop is completely implausible. Even if Valve reached out, it's like, oh, how can we improve Workshop so you can do this? Like I think have to say, no, sorry. Like we need we need.
Oh no, I'd tell them everything we need, but then they'd be like, no, sorry. They'd be like,
That wouldn't even work. Honestly, I don't think that would work, because there would just genuinely be. It would be weird to ask them that, and it would be impossible to coordinate. Like we need super specific stuff, like specifically for momentum. That like it's just completely implausible.
Yeah.
The thing that Steam Workshop we probably are going to use it for is cosmetics, and like momentum is going to have a cosmetic system, which is going to be a completely non-profit. Like we're not making any money for like.
It's all unlocked via gameplay. You get units via getting cosmetic XP, which goes towards the level, and that translates over to a currency that you can use in the in-game store to unlock whatever cosmetic that you'd want, as opposed to doing like a loot box or whatever system. And so like Steam Workshop could support the design process around those things that go into that store, but otherwise, But
that's basically what TF2 had, right? Like, or has, I think still does. Like, people submit cosmetics to the workshop that sometimes then get added by the devs to the game. That's a system that could work really well for us. Though, and it's not amazing. Like that, we could kind of do our own site for that potentially. Though, like, why? It's convenient that they have that and that exists. But that's really, I think, the only thing that we could really maybe custom HUD stuff. But even then, I don't know. Like, is Workshop really ideal for that? Maybe. The one of the reasons that we've been keen to use Steam Workshop in the past is that we could just use it as a CDN, as in content distribution network, as in we don't have to pay any bandwidth costs, they just go through Steam. In practice, like, I don't think we really would benefit from that. Like, hopefully we're going to be in a position with our bandwidth stuff that we could it's actually going to be pretty affordable with, the promise of Cloudflare's unlimited egress stuff, which actually does seem pretty promising and really could work. So like hopefully we're going to be in a position where we actually don't have to worry that much about bandwidth costs. And
but it would be
basically Steam's not
like we're trading the cost of bandwidth and download over to the convenience of being able to customize every step of the pipeline.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas Steam Workshop, we have to work around how Steam Workshop works. And
so for us, not using Workshop is just a complete no-brainer, frankly. Like, there's just
for maps.
I mean, yeah. I think that's what most people think of when they ask if we're gonna have Steam Workshop support. But yeah, anyone's gonna be able to submit maps to be added. Like that whole system of like, if you want to add a map, you submit it to Steam Workshop, whatever. That's just gonna be our system, and it's gonna be way, way better. It's just we have so much more control over the entire pipeline there. We get to do our nice web UI. The UI is actually pretty good. It needs some work, but like we actually have quite a lot of the user map submission already. Right now, it's just only being used by me and Nick, who have access to it. But yeah. But everything else, Steam Workshop, no, it's never gonna happen. Like no, for maps, never.
So, yeah, we'll see. But yeah, it'll be fun to see how the cosmetic side of that works if it does. But all right, thank you, Dan, for that question. We'll move on to the next one.
FPS God. Oh yeah. FPS God is asking, with CS2, could momentum mod and CS be open at the same time without the only one instance of a game error?
No. I'm just kidding.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
It's a different engine.
Yeah, it's a different engine. So CS2 is Source 2. I don't even think they have that same mutex anymore. They probably have designed around it. I don't even know why it existed in the first place. Like you can technically multi-run. We've changed the way that it works, right, is that it holds a specific resource on your computer, and then when you try to open another source game, it looks at that and sees that it's locked, and then it's like, hey, only one instance at a time. We've actually changed like what resource it holds. So you can't open multiple Momentum Mod instances, but you can open Momentum Mod and then CS:GO, right, or another game like that. And you should be able to play both at the same time. So CS2, I would assume they got rid of that, right? Like it doesn't even hold the same. It would be really funny if it still has that, that you can't play CS2 and like Half-Life 2 or something at the same time. But yeah, with our game, we've already changed it for Source 1, so you can automatically do it even if they still treat it how CS:GO did, where it holds like that same resource. So yes, I would assume, I don't have CS2 access, so we can't verify, but I would assume that, yeah, it is possible. So any other input for FPS God's question? Yeah, pretty straightforward. Thank you for asking. We'll move on to the next.
All right, the next one is from Daiter.
Mm-hmm.
What if a map is made for 2 game modes without 2 different versions of the map? How will it be added to the game?
It won't be. It'll be reject. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so it'll be added, and so this probably has already been answered earlier in the stream, but I'll reiterate. So maps are going to be changed to be environments, right? So they are no longer built specifically for only one mode if they aren't, right? Like if they aren't originally. Like you could technically like add other modes as ranked modes to a map. It is not tied, like a mode is not tied to a map. Maps are just environments to play in. So yeah, if a map is made for 2 game modes, you add it in the upload process, and there will be checkboxes for what modes you want it to be hopefully ranked on. And then our system, because we have control over the map selector, this is, by the way, is something that Steam Workshop doesn't let us do. If we did this, we would have to have some weird like abstract system on top of, anyway. You would be able to in the selector see the map on both game modes, right? So if you select Bunny Hop, you'll see the map show up. Now what that means is that maps don't need prefixes. In fact, they haven't needed prefixes ever since we've started our map selector. You can name a map whatever you want. It does not need the prefix. The prefix is nice for knowing in the maps list, like when you do the map command, where it is, and then as well as for maps that aren't officially supported on our website yet, being able to automatically load the game mode settings. But you'll be able to override game modes so that you can always load any map in any mode locally. We're never going to take that away from you. But you know, like you don't have to name a map a specific way. Like we have a system on top of that doesn't really tie it to the map name or anything like that. So it's really nice, really flexible. It'll be really cool to see, you know, maps get their, you know, upwards of 5 to 6 characters, right, back that they can now use for the rest of their map name if they need it.
I honestly, I just think that the prefixes are good.
Yeah, I
We
like
need
prefixes.
I think everyone's gonna like. I don't
We
think
don't-
anyone wants this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but like a map made for 2 modes, what prefix do you give it?
No maps are. So for one, I mean, if something is
Right now,
you give it some weird one. Weird one's all right, but that's an edge case. It's
so
one
like
of those
in my
situations that,
eyes, the
looking
Half-Life
to-
2 maps, like canals, right, would be HL2_canals or something, and then you would choose bhop or ahop on it.
I guess, but it's not that big a deal if it's just called Ahop. I don't know, like, eh.
I don't think we should
Aren't there a bunch
enforce.
of TF2 maps that are made for sticky jump and rocket jump?
Yeah,
That's already a pretty big thing in that game.
and those
Yeah.
ones are all. They all have the jump prefix.
And they can still have the jump prefix.
Yeah.
It's just the game won't. At that point, the game won't care because it doesn't look at jump. It looks at like when you officially load it. What game mode you have it selected? You selected to load it as. So yeah, I mean, there's like, you know, like you can add prefixes to maps. Maybe if the map is leaning more towards surf or something, it's fine. It's just the game's not going to use the prefix. Once it's officially added, it doesn't matter like what the map is called. It doesn't even look at it. It's looking at a setting that's in the map data, right? That you download when you search for maps. So yeah, like it's nice that the prefix could be there if you want to have it, but it's really up to the mapper. We won't enforce having to have a prefix for your map for the mode. If it's built for just one or whatever, you can add it if you want to, but it can be called whatever. It does have to be a uniquely named map, obviously, right? Like if there's, you know, we can't have 2 like, was it revolution or whatever, right? Like, you know, like, so, you know, stuff like that. Like you can't have multiple of the same map name because then that just gets really confusing. Like if there's 4 maps named revolution or whatever. But we'll go down the line where it's like, you know, does it make sense to have a prefix or not on this map? If there's, you know, you can have the prefix have some other, you could add your mapper name to it. Like that's the other, you know, like there's the map name is really just like how people are going to find your map, if not sorting by like difficulty or something like that, right? So making it, you know, whatever you want without the prefix I just see really just a bunch of upsides there of like you can kind of just have a little more freedom to name your map more uniquely. But yeah, prefixes aren't going anywhere. We're not going to rip out like prefix parsing or anything like that. It's just like it's not needed anymore.
Yeah, it's not mandatory, but I still think, yeah, in like 95 to 99% of maps, like they'll have prefixes.
Yeah, and to keep in mind, the prefix was really important for dedicated servers because that was how you found surf servers. You searched for maps that started with surf _, and that's how you would find servers running surf maps, right, for example. So the prefixes are very just a dated way to like try to find how to play it. But because, right, like our game has that built into this, you know, the search, you don't have to use the map name for it.
But you can then only know the game mode of a map by looking at the zone file. Like you can't tell immediately from the BSP name, which is a nice upside.
But that's where it's heading
sure.
towards. Is like we're gonna probably have maps that, yeah, like you could play multiple game modes, and then so at that point it's like when you do the map command, you basically just give it the game mode that you would do on that map. Like I don't know. It gets a little like we want people to not have to use the map command as much as possible, right? Like we want to push people towards dedicated UI, because that'll allow it to be easier to like select modes and stuff. You don't have to do 40 commands in order to play a mode, you know, stuff like that. So
We'd start dropping prefixes from Defrag map names because nobody puts DF in front of Defrag map names.
exactly.
We've got DF, DFWC right now. That's kind of funny, I think. 2017-6.
So it's only just the prefix is just a backwards compatibility thing and just a convenience thing. And they are needed, but we won't enforce getting rid of them or anything. Like you can keep it. Like you can basically name what your map pretty much anything. But yeah, so if a map is made for 2 modes, name it whatever you want. You can tick the boxes for the modes that are supported, and then we'll review it and consult with you, and then yeah, it'll be added, and it'll show up for both of those or any of those modes that are supported. And then I guess in unranked territory, if there's that too. But yeah, we have a lot of UI design to do in regards to that, so that'll be fun. Any other input for Daiter? Dater's question. All right, thank you, Daiter. We'll move on to the next.
All right, it's another question from Philip asking, will there be a way to upload our own maps and have them up or downvoted by the community to be added to ranked play?
Yes.
Sort of like how OSU does it.
Probably not how like
I
yeah.
mean, you wrote this actually. I mean, you did the design for it. I'm just gonna. Yeah. So map submission, we're gonna, like I said earlier, we're gonna do for 010. And it's gonna be. We're not gonna have a rating system like that, right? We will have like favorited, like most favorited stuff like that, but I don't think we're gonna have an up and down vote system. I don't know.
No.
Like, I'm not sure who that would really benefit.
Not really anyone.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have a map review system? Like to give feedback?
Yeah, during
that's the whole
testing.
thing. We've been talking about it all month.
Yeah, the oh, I thought okay, you got this. If you're talking about the system, or
I mean, you go ahead. You go ahead. Like,
yeah, okay, cool. So the way that map submissions will work, right, is first of all you upload it with the basic info about like what modes and stuff and images and stuff like that if you have any, and then after we give a like rough overview of it, just looking at it, make sure it makes sense and isn't just spam or whatever, you can basically open it up to private testing. So through our website you add people as testers to your map, and that automatically credits them down the line too. They'll be able to in-game see maps that are in beta testing and see your map and play it. When they play that map, they can give you direct feedback we'll have like a feedback like system there where you can like submit feedback, and like we can have map rating there, like if they like it or not, and that way it's just only to the mapper as they're making the map, right? And so they get the feedback there, they can tweak it, they can address that feedback. Once they're good with private testing, the mapper can then set the map to public testing, and this is a mandatory 1 week mandatory public testing period where we will try to incentivize people playing maps that are in this by like double XP or whatever. We'll figure out a way to do it, but the idea is to play a map, right? Try to see if you can break it, like try to set world record times and stuff on it that the mapper can then see through public play testing. Are all the entities working all right, things like that. And so the maps right there in that 1 week testing period minimum, right, that should catch a lot of the kind of like oopsie daisy things. That's not like it's not a catch-all, right? Like what we'll have is our release checklist. So after it's done and the mapper is ready for it to actually go into the game, they will basically mark it as ready. And then the admins come in and go through the review checklist. We have basically a map review like council for pretty much every mode that we'll have. So ideally it won't just be team members. It'll be people that are just really passionate and knowledgeable about their modes, of different skill level too. So that it's not, we're not just getting the elites picking really hard maps to add as ranked or anything like that. We'll get a balanced, feedback there. And then we'll have our team checklist of like everything that we absolutely require, right? Going through, just checking for common things like that. There could be some back and forth there. If it needs to go back to public testing, we can do that. We can kick it back as admins back to public testing. Otherwise, if it gets resolved and we do our internal testing and it's good, it gets added. So when it comes to whether or not it's ranked, right, that's up to us, because in the end, right, like we do determine that, and right, the mapper might want it to be ranked, but if they aren't making changes that we might need for it to be ranked or something like that, or if it just doesn't feel good as a ranked map, it'll be added as unranked. But that doesn't mean that after a map is added, right, and in the game and it's unranked, that we couldn't rank it, right? So we could, down the line, if the community really loves this unranked map and it's actually not that bad, and we made a slight mistake to make it unranked, we could have some sort of like maybe a feedback or a forum channel or something to be like, you know, add this map to ranked, and people can vote on that and you know, give us input on why they think it should be ranked, and we can change it over to that. Because the nice thing about our ranked system is that it's calculated based on the times that you're getting on the leaderboard. It's not necessarily due to like the time that you like, or the, you know, when you accomplished it or anything. You know, there's no time sensitive data there. It's just literally the leaderboard and like how many people have completed it and looking at things like that. So it can always be, a map can always be ranked later. So it's really nice. Like if it is added as unranked, and maybe, yeah, like people down the line just really want it to be ranked and count, we can add it. It's no problem. We do want to make sure that we're not adding ranked maps and then demoting them to unranked, because that's kind of a dick move. But there might be some instances where that's the case. Maybe we somehow missed something, right, in our check that, you know, causes it to be very gimmicky or something. We just bump it down to unranked, which means, yeah, we do have to subtract your rank points from that, but the run, you can still, you know, you still have your runs and stuff like that. But yeah, we really want to have a lot of community focus with testing maps, right? Like we want people to get feedback when they need it, not just from their internal testing team, but also the public. And then, you know, us, right? The team and map review council, right? Playing it, giving it feedback. So there will be feedback all along the way. We're not shotgunning maps like we currently do into the site, you know, where they're broken at launch or anything like that. We are very meticulously, we'll have a process. We'll document this process as well, make sure it's published so that you're aware of what's going to happen. We'll probably even have it as part of the map upload form. If, you know, if you haven't uploaded maps before, you can like click on it and see the documentation around it. So that's, yeah, like it's definitely flexible. Right, we're not ever doing, but the way you should really view it is like BSPs, we don't want to patch BSPs that are already ranked and out, because that means we have to invalidate the entire leaderboard, and we don't want to get to that point, right? We don't want to get to the point where we're like, okay, this map just, it's good, and there was this game breaking thing that was somehow not caught. You know, we could update the map and wipe everyone's time if it's really drastic, but this is something that would demote it to unranked or something as well, because yeah, these are things that we should be catching in our checklist. So if there's ever things like that, you know, we'll just be continually building to our checklist and making sure that people are aware. So yeah, I hope that covered everything. Yeah, it's just the idea that you have a private testing period for as long as you want, a public testing period that's minimum 1 week. You can have it in public testing as long as you want. However, we'll be on top of things. Like a map's not going to be in public testing for 10 months or something. Like if it's over like a month or something, we'll start to probably demote it back to private testing if it's not ready still. Because like, yeah, like, I mean, come on. we want maps out. We don't want to just have maps in the queue clogging the pipes, so to speak. But anyway, was there any input for Philip's question? I've been talking for a bit.
Well, that's just one thing to note there is like we will expect mappers to potentially change stuff based on feedback. Like,
yes,
Yeah.
Not to be
polished. When maps are like
Yeah.
fully released, we're not going to let you edit BSP anymore, right? Like,
yeah,
correct.
yeah.
once they're finally added with the permanent leaderboards,
But
then
if you're being a massive perfectionist and you've completely finished your map and you're super happy with it, it might not need that much review. You might not ever need to like recompile it, whatever.
Yeah.
It might be completely fine. But like people should still expect that like there's quite likely to be small things that come up. It's not going to be quite like code review or whatever. I assume that like, some entity's logic is non-optimal or whatever, like who cares? Like
Right.
as long as it works but yeah. Especially those cases of stuff that like we definitely don't want to unrank. We wouldn't want to have ranked. The mapper does want to have ranked, but like we can give some like useful tips as to how to improve that. Then yeah. My main worry is the pipeline just getting clogged up with stuff that like gets submitted. Then someone asks for some change that doesn't get done, and then
there would not be a time limit in private testing. But ideally, right, like a map that goes in private testing that isn't touched, like I don't know.
How do you have a time limit in public testing, right? Like you need to give a time to make changes.
Yeah, but private testing was what was asked in chat.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah.
So private would be unlimited, but ideally, right, you're iterating on it. Like we really want mappers. Like something, a dream feature of mine would be like to make it even easier to just export the map directly into our site. to where it's like we could even have cloud backup to where your VMF and BSP is like saved on our site. So that way it's like if some catastrophic hard drive whatever event happens, you have a backup of your VMF as well. And then our hammer could just auto sync right with our website for that. But that's down the line. But it's VMFs. Hey, come on. It's nice. It's nice to have that backed up because there's so many maps that are like, shit, I have to decompile this to like make it better or something, you know? Like it'd be nice to have VMFs backed up for that if you want to draw, like maybe that frees up space on your end too. You can, but I mean, yeah, mappers should be backing up their VMFs somehow. But it would just be like built in. I think that'd be really cool. Like that, and then the asset atlas obviously would be kind of our like mapper storage solution stuff.
We might do eventually.
Private testing. So just keeping in mind, private testing or noting on this, private testing is anyone you invite to it. So it is invite only. You go to your map that you've submitted and you search for their account like through our website, and it adds them as testers. So it could be team members if there's one that you want to add, but it's people that you want to test it. So if you have like your own kind of lackeys that usually test your maps or like, you know, your known testers, you can add them directly, right? And then they can just get access to it, and then you update through the website, right? So every time you compile the BSP, you can update. We'll also have peer-to-peer map sharing. So if you don't want to do that, right, like you can just, well, we could probably have that system in place too to help cover it. But yeah, so that's really the private test. What?
Are we going to have peer-to-peer map sharing? I didn't realize.
There was a requested feature a while ago, but I don't know. I mean, if we have more hammer integration with our website, if we have more direct integration with our website with hammer, I don't think we'll need it because you can just use that. Like saving and rendering out the BSP, and then it just like auto submits it to like the right thing. We'll figure it out. It's down the line, but it is something that we want to make the mapping process way better, right? Like way better than it's ever been. So yeah, be on the lookout for that kind of stuff. Just kind of built into Hammer, integrated with our website, right? Like things like that. It'd be awesome. Okay. Was there any other input for Philip's question?
No, the one thing I want to say, yeah, we will actually have this quite soon.
Yes.
This is really something that I am dying to get over to. There is definitely still some stuff to be ironed out. I am still a bit unsure of some of this stuff and how some of it's going to work. Like the review system, like just feels like there's a bunch of ways it could not work very well. That I'm just a bit, but I think we'll figure it out. I think just getting enough people to be like the main, like, yeah, right.
We'll kind of have
that already. There's your like flow chart and stuff. But yeah, we need to do it more that stuff really thoroughly. If we can get it to work, the system's going to be fantastic. We just need to make sure it doesn't end up being sort of restrictive or feel sort of bureaucratic or sort of Kafkaesque. I don't know. You know.
Yeah, the only bureaucratic step is the review, like the team review, because that it goes to us and our map review.
Yeah, and I think that's just a worry there with the team reviews. You do have to have enough active people that are doing that review, and we tend to like. Do people really want to spend like hours of their day doing map review? If we're getting, if we've got 10 active surf map reviewers, but we're getting 100 surf maps being submitted a week, like, stuff we get like really.
Damn.
Yeah, but we'll get a lot of maps being submitted. Of course we will. Maybe for porting stuff, it ends up being a bit easier, but yeah, I still think it's getting a system that like actually works in the long term and doesn't end up being a headache for lots of people.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah.
I think 100 maps in a week is a lot. Like, I don't know if that's really realistic.
Well, yeah, okay, maybe we'd get 100 a week for every mode, so like 10.
We'll have to see.
Submitted, I think, like when porting and stuff is going on, like.
I mean, porting's probably going to be the busiest. The map selection stuff is going to go through, but like realistically, O10 and those updates are going to be just to test the process out to see what's like causing a bunch of friction.
Yeah.
And we'll be iterating because we're wiping anyway. So yeah,
we've done some stuff to make the whole process really quite streamlined. Of just like nice UI of like a lot of drag and drop stuff that makes stuff faster.
Yeah.
There is still the fact that Lumper is a C# like local thing, not in a web browser, so it can potentially be a bit slower because people do actually have to download the full BSP and But yeah, maybe we can streamline it more. We'll see.
Cool. Okay, that was the last asked question, but we do have some more, and we have the time to do it. So we can go through the questions that were popped up in Q&A live during this. Which, by the way, please ask questions before before the stream so we can prep stuff. We can prep answers and like sometimes get you some charts and interesting bits to show. It helps better that way. But because we have a lot of time here, we can go back and answer these verbally.
Yeah. So Dan is asking, will there be cosmetics added to Momentum? And if
Yes.
so, would it include knife weapon skins?
Yes.
And will there be player model skin?
Yes.
Yes.
So yes, cosmetics. Yes to everything. Yes, there will be cosmetics. And just
I
recapping.
don't know about full player model skins.
Oh.
Yeah, but
I
yes to
think
everything else.
it's actually quite questionable. Yeah, we will want to do player cosmetics. Like, I think we are going to do hats. Like,
Yes.
we even want the snap hat and stuff for Defrag. By the way, I like how when you were saying yes and I was sort of repeating it, I was like backing vocals for you. 'Cause, but
It's not to say that you can't locally replace the player model, but I doubt we'd have a global player model
I
replacement.
feel like hat systems are generally better, and also just overall entire model replacement tend to just be obnoxious. I'm really not a fan of it. Like, if you play like Fortnite or whatever, and the skins and that, I find it just horrific. They look like fucking shit.
You don't want to be Hatsune Miku?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. We'll see. But there's a lot of different things we could go with cosmetics. It's not something we have like super big plans for. Also, we don't really know how it's going to turn out exactly. We don't have many modelers working on cosmetics. In fact, we don't have any right now.
Yeah. If you're a 3D modeler, join the Discord, please.
We're going to be trying to get more. We're trying to do like community cosmetic submissions and stuff like that. But I mean, how much we actually end up getting. I think keeping it small, not doing player models, doing smaller, more manageable things makes way more sense. If we were to do player models, it would probably just be a mess of like, we end up in a situation, there's Momentum Man and then 3 other random weird player models you can unlock, and that's it. And that could be like the game on release. Like, oh great, I can be Momentum Man, like the Kool-Aid Man, and
Pickle Rick,
cell-shaded Peter Griffin. I don't know, Pickle Rick, like just shit. And it would suck if we launched like that, So
it's funny, but it is shit. For the long-term health of the game, it would be really bad. So so we definitely want to support you, like things that are worth unlocking, right? Like like we don't want garbage like tiger skin, like skins, stuff like that, like where it's like it's the same weapon but like a slight paint job or something like those. Don't really.
I mean, I don't mind those.
I mean, I guess, but like the main thing that I really want to focus on, at least for the beginning of the cosmetic store, is like unique models, unique things like that for weapons and things like that, like hedgehog stickies, things like that, where it's like it's something that would be really fun and like maybe really adorable to like unlock and have something that promotes people working towards actually unlocking, because that's the other thing. The other aspect is we will have cosmetics, and the way you unlock it is via a store, so you can see the price of things and work towards unlocking things that you want. We really want you to be able to represent your game modes that you really enjoy, right? Like, so the Defrag clan or whatever when they roll up, you can have different cosmetics for different like game modes. We want to have a loadout system so that each mode you can have different cosmetics if you want to do that too, like equipped. So there's a lot of plans there. It needs spec'd out. I agree. It's not, we have a lot of planning to do. That's kind of might be post 1.0 even. We'll see how much dev effort is available to do a spec for it. But we have a lot of great plans for it, and it's going to be really, really nice to just kind of like allow people to kind of make models that we could like properly credit and put in the game, and like have people like be proud of their cosmetics. So
but I think that's the only way cosmetics will ever work, is if we
right.
We're not going to have a team of people sitting around making cosmetics all day. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Right, we can't do that.
Well, I mean, my honest concern is we just never get enough cosmetics, because I don't know if there's going to be that many people that want to make them. I think in those cases we want to try and, by not having any really obnoxious cosmetics to start off with, if we then have fewer of them, that's less of an issue, right? Again, like if we start the game with you can unlock Peter Griffin. I don't know why that's example coming up with. I just like it's Momentum Man and Peter Griffin as a full-on player model. Then it just feels so weird in other place, right? But if it is like small little hats and things, and there's not that many, that's much less egregious, in my opinion. Well, I think we should like start relatively casual and then add more stuff as we go. If stuff does get quite silly, that's not the end of the world. I mean, we are just a free-to-play game. It's not like there's going to be like trading and weird stuff, you know, like yeah.
We might be using the Steam inventory, so you can also feature items on your Steam profile. But other than that, it's we're not gonna have trading. There's no we can't enable a market. It's a free-to-play. It's actually locked by Steam on our app. So no trading cards, no point shop stuff, because that's also monetary, and then no DLC. I guess no paid DLCs or anything like that. So it's like no monetary related to the game. You can donate to us though if you like our team and my team.
When you start monetizing stuff and you have horrible skins, you just get an awful looking game that's just disgusting.
It's
like, I mean, like what? I still play Fortnite every now and then. I think Nick still does as well. Like so much, but you play that game and the Star Wars skins and stuff in there. It's so atrocious. And I feel sorry for the devs working on that game, especially ones having to make those stupid skins. Like not having that, I think,
they get bankrolled.
Is really important.
I don't really feel bad. They get bankrolled.
Yeah. But it's naff, right? It's just such low quality shit that you're just trying to sell to like children using their parents' credit card.
Where else are you going to see Ariana Grande have a shotgun fight with Rick Sanchez, though? I mean, come on.
It's
and then hit the gritty. Yeah,
it's all this Disney stuff.
Oh yeah, it's
Doctor Strange in Fortnite. It's like
it's so dumb. Balenciaga pug.
Like a serious Shakespearean actor, and he's in Fortnite. It's like, come on.
It's fun.
Everyone loves the original characters though. Meow skulls and stuff.
Yeah.
So
there's place for custom player models maybe, but like we'd have to see like where it could fit, and it's not gonna be full Peter Griffin. We're gonna very carefully select like the main big cosmetics, but things more towards like weapon skins and stuff like that we'll probably be more open to more options there. We really want to have like things that make sense, and because we're not trying to make $20 per skin purchase or whatever, right? Like we can actually we can add really kind of more basic things like that too, if that's what people would like to have, just like the different options, different color matching, right? Because people could really like change their
I'm sure people would like the stupid shit. I just don't think we should give it to them. Like we don't want to do this lowest
endorse it. We shouldn't endorse it, right? But our story.
Could I just have real quick? The one thing I think of the game with the cosmetics that I think is best is still genuinely TF2. I think TF2's cosmetic system is really fucking good. Like the paints, you can get these sort of overly, the greens and pinks and whatever can be. But like actually having like the 3 or so cosmetic slots where you can just add stuff and just like, it's fun. Like some of it is, I don't particularly like the unusuals. The unusual a bit over the top, but I guess it does make the economy kind of interesting because you get these like super rare things that literally, I don't know, character customization TF2 is genuinely really fun. Like it's this sort of funny sort of mix and match sort of like dollhouse thing that like you compare that to something like Fortnite where it's literally like
chaos.
I get a different colored gun or whatever, and then I get the this stupid skin. And it's like, and there's much less personality to it. Like you basically, because most people are just using like the skins from like the battle pass or whatever. So it's loads of people dressed up as Doctor Strange or whatever, and it's like. It feels incredibly I don't know, like there's no sort of personality or sort of real customization to it. So So Rats Insta gives us similar. Okay,
Yeah. But
I think that's probably good. We've already kind of covered this in previous Q&As as well.
Yep.
We can shut up.
Yeah, we can stop ranting about Fortnite.
We have talked a lot about Fortnite.
I'm flossing right now.
All right. Well, we'll move on. Thank you, Dan, for that question. We'll move on to your other one there.
Yep. So another question from Dan. He's asking if we'll ever add a shadow replay into the game, being able to see yourself or a friend's shadow character.
Yep.
While doing
Yep. You can race. Yep.
we already have ghosts. We
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
need to add them for replays.
In-game ghosts, we are absolutely doing like ghosts that you can follow along. Like Trackmania is obviously a big inspiration there, and they do it really
Yes.
well.
Yes.
It is also something where, whilst we really like bot path stuff in different modes, some people have argued that it is too strong for Surf because it leaves this trail behind you that you can really follow.
Yeah.
One of our sort of potential solutions there to sort of get kind of half of that, but it's not quite as powerful, is to have just the ghost in map thing.
Yeah.
So it's not really giving you that kind of advantage in quite the same way, and you don't have this trail, but like it has a lot of that sort of same functionality and looks a lot better, especially when we actually finally get rigging and animations in. But yeah, again, Trackmania there does it so well, and we're just going to steal from that basically.
Yeah. Pretty much answered it. Is there? Yeah, we will. Yeah, and then
also-
we'll I mean we'll have racing for for any, like, you can compare against any submitted PB, including world records, your own PBs, your friends' PBs, stuff like that. And then we'll have racing, so you can race against those ghosts as well, so you can visually see how well you're doing, or not. And then we'll have online racing as well too. So you'll be able to be in a lobby and like propose a race, and then like we'll have a synchronized start there, and then that's kind of how our tournament mode will also work. But yeah, that's down the line. But yeah, we have a lot of plans around kind of comparisons and racing. So
I've not really talked about it much, but what I'd like to see is to be able to queue up like multiple demos and just watch them race each other in third person, so you can see the difference between like the top 10.
Yeah.
oh yeah, Trackmania also has that, the 1,000
Yeah.
car or 100,000 car. Yeah, that'd be really cool to add too.
I think
Yeah.
what we're going to do is, but around about 011 probably, we'll really do quite a lot with the leaderboard and comparisons UI, and really make that as powerful as we possibly can. So if you want to select a bunch of different ghost runs to watch, you can. There's so much potential there. And what's so nice for us is we already have this data format that has all of this in. I mean, we are refactoring for 011. That's basically what 011 is. It's a replay refactor, but it is like a really fundamental part of Momentum is our replays.
Right.
And this goes to basically just a very, very easy extension of that. They're just entities that, I mean.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Dan, for that other question as well. Moving on to the next.
Yeah, so Linguistie is asking, how does AI help you with developing the game? I know Tom was using some chat to like generate unit tests.
Yeah.
Which I personally think is an affront to God, and
Well,
I will never forgive them.
Well, I'm personally really quite anti-AI and fuck Sam Altman. I really think a lot of the way a lot of AI companies work at the moment is shocking. I feel a bit bad for using it, but yeah, I've been using GPT-4 for some test stuff, which is like just using Bing, which is GPT-4, where it's very good for unit tests, because that's just testing generally single blocks of code. Sometimes you pass in a bit of extra stuff, but like if you have some small, quite simple functions and you can just like write just unit tests for this function. It will spit it out generally pretty well, and that's just a nice time save. It's also sometimes good for bits of tooling, some bits of like just Python tooling, though a lot of the time, like with that stuff, like by the time I've articulated the question and checked it's right, or the prompt, whatever, like a lot of the time I could just implement that script myself. So like I'm pretty wary of AI stuff for programming stuff. I'm probably maybe the one using it the most on the team. I know some others have been.
I'm using it.
Yeah.
I'm using GitHub Copilot for BSB convert.
Yeah.
And it sometimes knows some things about the BSB format.
Yeah, it will.
Keywords and all that stuff, and it definitely saves me some time. But
well, that's because it's reading all this code from Git that they legally shouldn't be allowed to. But
yeah.
No,
it's really sorry. It's really like a legal and a moral gray area in a lot of places, especially art, where it's just being trained on just everyone's data without their permission.
Yeah.
I mean, for code as well, it shouldn't. I think we should eventually have laws that require these AI models have people's express consent to use that data, which destroys those models. But I think that would be the ideal solution, because they're otherwise going to just be in massive detriment to the humanity, I think. and they're miserable.
There's yeah, and just adding on to that with we legally can't use it for engine
Good. Yeah.
development.
Yeah.
So because there's just like if it uses right any of the like code that we have or anything like that, we don't want to risk it. That would immediately break NDA because
I think it was a-
we're
Yeah.
submitting like engine code over to the OpenAI or whatever, right? Like that would be using it. So for open source stuff, like yeah, website and BSP convert completely fine. Yeah, completely fine to use it. But when it comes to engine code, it's like yeah, we can't even put it anywhere near any of those programs. And that's funny because there's even like an article. I think what was it? Samsung engineers were using it and we're submitting like classified like firmware fucking software like over to OpenAI. Like
it is really funny the kind of stuff
it's
people
funny.
how like sort of rash people are being with it is really
Yeah.
shocking.
Yeah. Because
It's
that's
also
like you're
something
just
that-
giving it to them. Like it's
So I just consider if someone emailing me something written by ChatGPT or whatever, I think is extremely rude. I don't want no. I seriously think
it is true. They put no effort. They're like fuck it. Like I don't want to
I
talk to
don't
this guy.
want to communicate
Robot.
to someone that's using a chatbot as their medium. Like,
Hi Tom. As an AI, I got you.
and it's like,
yeah.
I think it's sincerely really rude.
Sincerely, ChatGPT.
And I don't want that. But there's so many things to say about AI, and it is a genuinely like major thing for humanity and a sort of turning point, and a lot of stuff will change from it. Overall, I just feel cynical and depressed about it more than anything. But I am using it for unit tests.
This topic is really interesting, and we can talk about it for hours. But what's funny is that the other project where I'm working on, we had a stream, and the topic of the stream was, using the AI in the game development.
Yeah.
And my point is that AI, I don't know really about the code wise or maybe some text wise, because I haven't seen it how it works. But basically, AI, whatever AI is gonna give you, is really great reference. Like if you maybe making text, or again, it's write codes right now, so it's a really great reference. If we're gonna talk technical, like for example, imagine there's a AI plugin for Blender that converts 2D model into 3D, for example.
Extrusion.
That will be just great, I think. And from this technical point, I think AI is fine. Like if it's gonna convert you something, or imagine AI.
Yeah, generative AI is where it gets problematic, where it like comes up with something completely because that's a very good point, right? Like ones that are doing more of menial tasks, right? Like maybe converting a bunch of files over to a different format, things like that, where it would help with that. But I mean, when it comes to generative, you really got to double check, right? It's not accurate. It's probably never going to be, right? Because it's literally just regurgitating, right, all of this stuff, and it needs manual input on whether or not it's correct. So whether or not it'll ever be fully accurate is something to be determined. But I don't know. I think it's interesting. It's a cool tool. It's definitely, I've used Copilot way back on website stuff. What's the website? It might have been like the redesign or something. There was a long time ago I was in the or no, maybe it was SDK code actually. Was it back then? I'd never used it for engine code, but because we got engine after Copilot was done, I think. Anyway, there's a great side to it of there are menial tasks, very boring, very repetitive things that we could technically use AI to help out with, right? But there's a lot of I guess humanity that goes into a game, I would say, that you really can't automate, because then the game's just going to be tone deaf, just like the email that Tom doesn't want to get, right? You're just going to get this very cookie cutter kind of oh wow, this model is doing or it's just straight up just using another game's animation that it learned from or whatever, right? So I don't know. It's like it's a double-edged sword, and yeah, how a lot of these companies are just waving that sword around is crazy. Um, and how a lot of people are feeding and stabbing themselves with the sword too.
Yeah.
What on earth are
A
you
lot
talking
of a lot of the AI art, it's like super polished and it looks like it was made, but like it's so generic. Like it's not doing anything. It doesn't have a style. It doesn't have like a kind of intention behind it.
Yeah, we shouldn't expect that from these models, though, right? Like they're not.
Right. Yeah. They're
And
yeah.
that's why, like, you're being used in like Hollywood or whatever for writing and stuff, and you get that with a WGA like writer's strike and whatnot, where you know a lot of writers are very worried about using AI, and it's like, you know, the kind of writing you're going to get out of large language models is generally going to be just
Flavorless,
shit.
yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be flavorless. A really good word for it. It's kind of, you know, it's like Marvel movies, but even more like Marvel movies. You know, like
I bet they're already. I bet they're fine with the strike because they're already using it.
yeah.
For Marvel.
Well, exactly right. It's that kind of Disney shit. I mean,
Yeah.
it's by its LLMs are by their nature just derivative, right? Which is what a lot of culture is. Sorry if I sound a bit sort of edgy, but I mean, I think it's clearly true that a lot of culture is just essentially derivative sort of repeats of existing shit. But I don't know, the capacity for like these AI systems to exacerbate that even more. Maybe it ends up being a sort of accelerationist sort of thing that spurs on like people to really rise up or not rise up. And I mean, you know, maybe we finally have evolution because of AI. Probably not. But it means that people finally like really stop like watching fucking Star Wars or whatever if you start getting Star Wars series written by AIs and stuff like that, because like it is just the most atrociously derivative, boring shit. But yeah, I think
back to the topic of helping us develop the game. Yeah, it's useful in some instances with more menial, like boilerplate kind of stuff like that. It's pretty good. But we'll see where it goes. I mean, right now it's just the Wild West, and there's no regulation, and there probably never will be. And the cat's kind of, or you know, cat's out of the bag, genie's out of the bottle, of the like. You can't stop it now, but it's just like, and then you know, with the open source models, how it's getting on better and better optimized to run on more commodity hardware. Anyone can start running their own, you know, Chat GPT models on like, you do need a 4090 or whatever, but like it's getting to that point where it's like, okay, like maybe we can have a personal assistant where it's like it learns off of your own stuff and it's your own assistant, you know, like that kind of stuff would be cool. But yeah, just trusting these fucking giant tech companies that are now evaluated to be billions of dollars.
and seeing the way they're behaving with
killing
it,
Google in favor of another Google. Fuck yeah, let's go. Anyway, and now we get AI in every product. Anyway, sorry. It is helping for the open space.
It's an extremely funny potential climax to late stage capitalism. AI and large language models as
taking the creative jobs.
Condensing down the the idea that you end up getting AIs doing the creative
shit. Yeah,
sincerely depressing but really funny. I mean, it's
so sad.
You can't write that. It's funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on.
All right. Next question. And yeah, it's not synchronized on the screen, by the way. We're going off of questions asked in our Discord. Please get the questions asked in beforehand so that we can add slides and things like that. But we do have some extra time, so we're going through extra questions right now. But we'll get over to gameplay very soon here. We got 2 more questions, and then we'll jump over.
Yeah. So Testas1 is asking if there will be secondary mods like DJ or low gravity bhop. I don't know what DJ is.
Double jump?
Double jump?
Probably.
Maybe. It depends. I mean, there's a lot of gimmicky stuff like that it'd be fun to add an unranked leaderboard for, I guess. But for right now, I think we are the big doc, right? Our big doc. It outlines kind of like the main things, which are just input related run flags, and then execution style. So normal, task, segmented, angle mode. So normal, you're forward facing, sideways, backwards, things like that. There's going to be leaderboards for those. Some will be ranked, can be ranked. I should say can be ranked, not should or will. Like it's really going to be a matter of like choosing what makes sense to kind of have as just like this fun thing. So like the other thing that we're adding too is like with tracks, right? You can actually add custom properties to tracks. And so if we want to have a low grav or whatever track, we could do that to where it's like, yeah, when you play this track, you have low grav. So that way it kind of tackles that like its own leaderboard, it's, you know, stuff like that, and you don't have to play it because it'll be unranked or something like that. But yeah, I mean, stuff like that are things that we can support. It really just depends on what it's doing and whether or not it's like worthwhile to like, because again, low grav's interesting, but it's also like crap in the same, like for some maps and so, like it doesn't really apply. So like it'll probably be a map by map, or I guess I should say mode by mode basis, right? Like, because yeah, some mode maps, right, like it wouldn't make, the combination doesn't make sense, and so it would be disabled at that point.
Also,
I definitely
some maps just have like gravity triggers.
Right, exactly.
Really. So,
I think
like, I don't know what we
that
do
was
about
the discussion. No, that was the discussion. We really want to make it more of a map like sided thing for like gameplay, like bonus stuff like that. But yeah, when it comes to like full track wide gravity stuff, it's really
track
just
wise. It goes in a track property, not the map.
Yeah, but
if it's individual parts of a map, then
whether or not it's worth it,
in the track,
we'll have to figure out. So we could, yeah, we definitely are designing the system around being able to do it. It's just whether or not every map or like wide brush, like we can't
it's much easier to sort of forget about it for now and then maybe do it down the line.
Yeah.
But if there's a real demand for it, but
yeah,
I just find like the low grav stuff just seems so rubbish.
Yeah. Thank you for that question, Testus. We'll move on to the next, or our last one.
Final one.
The final question.
And it's asked by a worm.
Oh, okay.
Will there be a definitive tier difficulty rating for maps? How would these be decided?
Yes, and the map council is going to be giving input on what a map should be. It's very subjective. We've tried doing more objective styles of map tiering, but it gets really complicated really quickly. I know you could look at things like number of completions and like the average world record time or something, or average PB time or something like that, but it gets really complicated, and it's much easier to just manually tier things. And we will be expanding the tiers. There's not just 7 or whatever. We're going to be bumping up to 10, and we will be re-tiering the maps as they get added to properly fit that new 10 tier scale. So yeah, they're more of a definitive tier. And then just for those that aren't aware, tiers are the difficulty. So the lower the tier, the easier it is. The higher the tier, the harder. So tier 1 maps are probably, if you've never played a mode, that's where you start, right? Other than the learn section, which will be tier 0, right? Because you're learning. But tier 1 will be, the very easiest map, all the way up to tier 10, right? Doing mechanics and or just really challenging maps. So yes. Now, keep in mind that technically tiers are actually going to move towards the mode being played on it, right? Because a tier 10 or whatever, tier 7 like surf map or whatever, no, that's a bad example. A tier 7 like bunny hop map might be hard because you're playing it on bunny hop, right? Tier 7, but like if it's bunny hop and defrag or something, right, it could be a tier 10 defrag map because it's it's doable, but it's really difficult or something like that on defrag. So tiers might change per mode. So a map, when you're looking at maps, you're going to be looking at specific like sub modes or modes that you're interested in, and it'll be rated based off of that. Our map selector has a slider on it for being able to filter out maps that are too hard. So you'll be able to very easily see, without going into the map, whether or not it's going to actually be completable by you.
I know for jump modes, there's they usually have a different tier for like sticky jump and rocket jump.
Yeah.
So like I guess it depends on what game modes you're intending to support with your map.
Exactly.
I don't remember. Does tier have like much of an impact on like rank points?
No.
I don't think it does, right?
What?
Yeah. Okay.
No. What?
No. Tier doesn't. Well, sorry. Tier doesn't have an implicit one. It's not like defined in the algorithm for it. Tier does because if you think about it, the harder maps have less people completing it, so you technically get a higher rank. So like you technically
Really?
do get more rank points because you'll be placing higher if you beat a harder map. But yeah, no, it's not. There's no tier involved with the rank because again, the only thing we're looking at is time and the placement of your time versus others and how many people have done it, have said the time.
All right. So then we won't be like too strict on like the tiers. We could probably change them pretty easily on the fly without having to readjust everyone's ranks and everything, right? So
No, it affects cosmetic. So cosmetic
okay.
XP is
Which
calculated
doesn't
based.
matter that much.
It doesn't. Yeah. So that's
yeah,
true.
I mean, if we just get like community feedback, or
It was
maps
a
been out
little
for
bit
year
off,
and
then
everyone's like,
whatever.
this is actually much easier than a tier 4 because
Right.
people find new
Yeah.
strats.
And tiers do change, right? Like, I mean, that's how it is. I think there was a Repster video about that, or I think it was the recent interview, right? Tiers change, right? Yeah, like some maps that were tier 4 back in the day are now really easy, just compared to like comparatively, right, to the other maps. So it'll be very interesting to re-tier everything properly, right? To have kind of more of a threshold of like where everyone's skill should be. These older maps were designed like they might be harder just because the ramps or whatever are different, like really difficult to mount and stuff like that. You know, like there's different like levels of tier and what factors into it. So that's why we really couldn't make it objective. It is going to be very subjective. And it's really just by the map review team. And so we just kind of look at like what everyone's saying and getting people that are different skill sets on that. You know, if a known tier 3 surfer or whatever, right, is on this council, and they can't beat it, then it's at least above tier 3, right? You know, things like that. So like taking into account kind of all of the information we can gather, we can get a really good subjective tier for a map. And then, yeah, I mean, we could adjust it, but hopefully we're not doing that too often, and more so doing it over time as like, oh, this map that was added 4 years ago was a tier 5. It's more like a tier 4 compared to like all of the tier 6s that have been added or something. So we can kind of re-tier maps like that, and then yeah, if you've completed it, you get the tier 5 XP instead of the tier 4 because you already completed it. We only calculate when you do the event, right? When you submit the run. So it wouldn't haphazardly change anything. It's just future runs that you do. If you were to rerun that map, you get less XP if it goes down in tier, just because tiers involved with that calculation. So you would, if you're grinding a tier 5 map that becomes a tier 4 map, you would get the tier 4 XP from that. So that would be but you still get XP. It's not like a large discrepancy. You'd still be getting a good amount of XP from grinding it. It's just it's gonna be less,
I guess another thing to note is that if maps are getting harder, we do still have like up to tier 10 to like add kind of new levels of difficulty. Like we don't need, if people start releasing super hard maps, we don't need to start downgrading everything below them immediately.
Exactly.
We have higher tiers for that.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to like not have any like tier 9 or 10s just because in theory stuff can be harder, right? Like
right.
I feel like that's kind of just impossible to get right. Like with stuff like Ahop, like younger modes, it does make sense to probably rank stuff a bit further down than we would. Like I think Reptile currently is like a tier 6, where I think that's sort of tiered to be 6 out of 6. So our system is out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Like Reptile's probably long term a tier 5. I don't know. Maybe it's a 6. Stage 3 is hard. But like, I don't know.
But making it out of 10 makes it so that we can start to shift a lot of these really harder maps towards 10, right? Because that's the thing, is we should really be sticking with 10 tiers because we don't want to add more tiers after that. It just starts to complicate things, right? We really want to balance things within the 10 or the number that we pick. It doesn't have to be 10, it could be 12 or whatever, right? Like as long as it could be something that's like easily filterable and understandable. But yeah, 10 just is nice because it's like it's really out of 10, how hard is this map, if you could give it a number, where 10 is the hardest. So yeah, it's like it's all very subjective. Things will be changing, not rapidly, but like just down the road, right, as things are just released more and more. And it's like, if we see a pollution tier 6 or whatever in this new system, we start to just rebalance, right, some of these maps that maybe might not be tier 6 because of just the number of completions on it. Maybe it's more tier 5, upper tier 5, right? There was talks about maybe making it a decimal system as well, so you get kind of the two difficulties of like the tier it's under and then maybe a sub tier. There was also talks around getting
soft 5 or a hard 5,
but I mean that's the thing. It's like we could get it to where there was discussion around maybe adding like like a subjective like there's like map feel, and then there's like difficult like raw difficulty in terms of like how many checkpoints do you have, like is it a one shot, like that kind of stuff where it's like it's adding its own difficulty, but you can subcategorize it as to like why it's the tier it is. But like when you
versus unit.
Well, I think
right,
the numerical tiers and just have it a verbal description.
we'll have the Weasleys anyway. Like we'll have
Weasleys for everything.
Weasley tiers,
Yeah, you
Weasley trophies,
Weasley tests. Yeah, you gotta.
Weasley tests. They're very helpful. No, but the main thing, right, with that is just when you go down that path, right, it gets really like complicated to like start to qualify everything, and you get really anal about stuff, and we don't want to do that. We instead want to have just a really simple tier system and maybe map tags, right, mechanics that you can find in it. It's a tier 6 because of maybe this really hard spin they have to do halfway through it, and we add spin as a map tag to it. So then you can also then filter for maps that have spins that are under tier 6 and stuff like like things like that, where it's like you can start to filter by maps based on the mechanics that they have in them, as opposed to necessarily the tier. So there's a lot of like systems like that that are kind of replacing maybe what a more objective tiering system could look like. And while maybe looking at like number of completions and world record time and stuff like that might work for one mode, it doesn't apply to all of them. And so applying, like, we really need something that can apply to all modes, and 10 tiers applies to all modes. It's very easy to rank something out of 10 comparatively to other maps that are also ranked out of 10. So yeah.
Okay. I just think we should just try to do what all existing servers and stuff do and just do it a bit better. That's about it.
Yeah.
Like, I think people think, we should use AI to do.
Let's ask ChatGPT how hard Surf Nightmare is.
Statistics course, yet I have seen lots of stuff about ChatGPT in the news. Sorry, I don't know. I can't remember who it even is. I'm slagging off there.
AI is writing its way into.
Why would it like AI be good for that? I don't know. Okay. Or like people want to use ELO. No. There's been so many really jank suggestions.
Well, there was ELO as a way to like compare maps and then write like kind of the tier curve around that, right? So you like kind of group all the maps in terms of like, is this harder than this? And but
ELO is a way of rating two things against one another, and
exactly.
You can do that to try and rate a bunch of stuff, but it's very
kind of like insertion sorting your way.
It's a weird,
to a tier list
approach.
You would need to have people that have played like
every map,
right, and
that's rare.
It's a bad use of like one statistical device that you're familiar with in one area that doesn't apply to another one, and it's just honestly, I think it just ends up being it's subjective, but you try to get the opinions of various different people, and generally they're going to conform relatively well, but it's not a precise science.
I wonder if that was... I feel like that was Jason that suggested that, and he might even be in chat right now, and you're just insulting him.
Who?
Juxtapo. They were interested in doing an ELO bracket to just kind of see like how maps would be tiered based on.
It's a neat idea, but
it just requires a lot of players that know every single map, and that's probably doable at KSF and stuff like that, but it's a lot, and you gotta make sure that like you're taking into account like everyone. And so like there's gonna be people that haven't beaten the hardest maps that just say it's hard, and it's like, how hard, right? Like, so I don't know, there's probably ways you could do it to like, once you get a rough tier list, you then subsection it and then ask like the veterans how hard the hard maps are, the average surfer how hard the average, stuff like that, where you can get it more refined. But just doing it straight up ELO to rank stuff into tiers might not work out in the end. You'd have to do a lot of massaging around that. So
ultimately, like, generally people seem to sort of agree on what the tiers should be. I think trying to do some complicated statistical way of figuring it out, and obviously AI is generally like the system being run. Those are just more complicated statistical ways. It's not. Most people's opinions roughly conform. People should discuss it a bit and then try and agree on one. That's about it. Like, and then you just once you have a bunch of maps that kind of set the standard. You're saying, okay, Omnific is a tier 7 or whatever, or tier 8 on this scale, like rank stuff relative to that. Generally, people are going to agree pretty well. You'll get some outliers, but for the most part, you just get people to agree. That's it.
Yeah.
Don't need to be all clever about it.
But yeah, so that's why we're sticking to just 10 tiers and not anything crazier than that. And yeah, hopefully it shouldn't cause too much drama or anything like that when we're doing map review. But we'll see. Okay, cool. Any last minute, what time are we at? 2:20.
I think it's
we have 30 minutes.
Time to move on. We got 30 minutes, so we could play the actual momentums.
Let's do it. Play the actual momentums.
Talking of that, we got some maps we were going to play, which I am going to click the button on that makes the maps be playable.
Let's go. While you do that, I'll set up this.
Ooh, does this actually? Yeah, interesting.
Okay.
Okay. The defrag roundabout and defrag other thing has been added.
There we go. Cool. Oh, that actually worked out. I didn't have to. The layout was already good. All right. Cool. All right. So those maps are live. Okay. Yeah, we're good. Okay. So this is the part where we show off the game. So I gotta do my standard spiel. Yeah. So this is Momentum Mod. Yeah, that's it. All right. Thank you for showing. Anyway, yeah, so this is the main menu. It's a work in progress right now. We have a lot of ideas for how this is going to go. Right now, you can just kind of see our main news, our releases. This is mainly our changelog because, yeah, we're kind of releasing a version. We're trying to be every week, but, you know, whenever that happens, you can see it and read more about it. We're going to eventually update this to have, like, new maps, right, that are released, as well as maybe challenges or dailies and stuff like that you can do down here. We'll see. You know, we can probably have it customizable as well down the line. But yeah, that's kind of what the main menu should be. It's just kind of like, here's a hub, here's all the news, like here's, you know, things that might have happened. You also have eventually down the line we'll have notifications as well. So if you are like maybe watching a specific map or anything, or a specific player, you could see if they get like a world record, or if a world record was set on a map that you really care about. We can even have notifications around like your rival beating you or something. And then, yeah, you'll have your own profile and tab. You can see, right, the XP system and level system. I'm level 22. I need to play more momentum. But yeah, you just get XP through like playing the game, right? Just beating maps, beating your PBs, stuff like that, winning races, things like that. Yeah. And yeah, this thing is spinnable. You can kind of do that as long as you want. It's very, very therapeutic. But that brings me to the sidebar. That's a collapsible kind of drawer panel here. So we do have multiplayer, standard multiplayer spiel. Multiplayer is not necessary to play the game. It is actually a layer on top of it. So you can join, for example, Max Lobby here, and hang out and chat with gamers in the menu. You can kind of do this in CSGO anyway, but in your own lobby. But it's pretty cool. You have, you know, who's typing and stuff like that. We have a lot of control around that kind of stuff. You can see what map players are playing, and we'll join them very soon here. I'm just doing my spiel first. And yeah, it's really cool because, you know, you can just join like a lobby that's like publicly hosted. You can see friends only lobbies. You can host, if you go and want to host your own lobby, it's one click basically. We got to localize that. But yeah, the lobby system, right? You choose what style you want. So invite only, friends only. You can change the maximum player. It goes up to 250, though we haven't tested that yet. And it creates a lobby and uses Steam as the backend. So you can just host one for your friends or, you know, whoever, meet new people. And yeah, it's really cool. We'll have more customization around, you know, your player tag here. Like we'll probably have, you know, you can see this background here is the old background. We'll probably have like player cards and stuff like that. So the customization, right, really extends upon just not just player models, but also your UI, your presence on the site and in UI, right? Because that's how people also see you, right? Is if you're setting world records, right? They'll click on your profile to play your replay. So having stuff in there like badges, you know, calling cards, etc. Having those kind of stuff, that'd be good too. Those might be more like challenge stuff that you can, you know, unlock from doing challenges and milestone challenges and stuff like that. But
first we're gonna have to convince Trans to make like 50 cars.
Kara, yeah.
I think he's done so actually.
Yeah,
Or
they'll
maybe
be like
not.
game mode centric. We'll probably also have language, like country flags as well. So if you're really patriotic to your country, you can do that too. Yeah, we'll look into again how other games do it. Just take inspiration from that, and go from there. And then yeah, the other tabs are not really here. This used to be a profile tab. This will be like kind of the one-stop shop for like all of your stats. So like all of your game modes like that you've played and sub modes and stuff like that. And things like that. And then we'll also have challenges and milestone challenge. Those are way down the line, so not really worth talking about. Can't really show off anything. And then credits, you'll be able to see things. We also had the changelog here, but then realized that we're literally duplicating it to Steam, so we're not going to have the changelog tag here very soon. Just click on one of these if you're curious. Usually the most recent one, right, is going to be the release. But it's cool. You can actually see everyone that's worked on the game, and I'll be dynamically generating these in the future. Right now it's very static. So yeah, that's one of the things I want to work on this week. Cool. So this is one aspect of multiplayer. I will note that down the line, we're going to have something called roaming lobbies. So this is just a normal like hosted lobby that you do through the game. And it lives inside the game basically. And you host it publicly. People can join you. You can be on any map, right? Natan here is on Amersell and everyone else is on Roundabout, but you can still chat together. It's very nice. We'll have voice chat as well in these lobbies. But roaming lobbies, right, are more towards the traditional server experience. It's around joining a specific map and just playing it with other people that might be also opted into it and on that map, right? So it will automatically join just this dedicated public lobby that's only for that map. And if you leave that map, you leave that lobby, right? So we still have that, or we will have that. And then the next step up from that is dedicated lobbies where you host them basically outside of the game, right? It's its own executable. It'll still use Steam and the Steam related stuff, so that makes it easier for us to code. But yeah, it'll basically be like your traditional dedicated server. You can host it on a box. You can have a map rotation, stuff like that. We're still ironing that out. We have a feature thread on that. We're working through it. But yeah, that's kind of the idea for multiplayer, is like having that traditional side of like a dedicated hosted thing that you can join. It won't synchronize movement. We'll get to that. I haven't gotten to gameplay yet. But yeah, like lobbies are just kind of meant to be the social layer on top of the game. And so dedicated lobbies are more of like that dedicated server feel of like, yeah, like there's a dedicated map that you should be on in order to really like be in this lobby, and stuff like that. We'll see how it's gonna work down the line, but it's down the road. Roaming lobbies will actually be in sooner rather than later. But yeah, okay, cool. So that's lobbies. I'll get more into multiplayer when we get in game, but I gotta talk about the other main stuff. So it looks like we have a couple of maps here. We got Conc. You can see that, like, yeah, we sort by recent date, but we'll change this to show the new maps on the main menu, and then you can go in here and still filter by date release, but you can also, save your own settings here. But you can see right now that you can play any mode that you want at any time. You can scroll through the hundreds of maps that we have right now. There's going to be thousands of maps eventually down the line. Like, there will be so much content in this game that you're going to need to use these filters if you want to try to find something that you actually want to play, because otherwise you're just jumping all over the place. But you can sort by tiers and stuff, right? So you can sort by like tier 1, tier all the way to tier 7, I think is their highest right now. So yeah, it's really nice that, like, we have the ability, all the tier 4s, or you can only search for rocket jump maps, things like that, where it's like, yeah, it's very, very straightforward to find like what you want to play. You can filter by things that you've downloaded, things that you favorited, things that you have or haven't completed. So these are all the maps I've never submitted a run for. So just very easy to do that. And you notice up here, this tab here for playlists. You can create down the line. We used to have it coming soon, I think, but whatever. Down the line, you'll be able to create a group of maps that you can like just hit play and like start in the first map, and then as you beat each map, it goes to the next one. If you've heard of the gauntlet runs, like in Bunny Hop, or I don't know if Surf has one, those will be that'll be supported inside a playlist. So yeah, it'll be very nice. Is it wobbling as I'm scrolling?
I hope so. That sounds funny. It's wobbling.
It's like what? Okay, that was weird. I think it's just the effect of the
I think I know what you mean. There is a bug with some rendering in that panel.
Damn.
But I'm not actually sure what it is. I have I think a card for it even.
Okay.
I know does some weird stuff sometimes with certain layouts because
Layout.
it's
Yeah, it's like
hacky shit version that Valve did for CS:GO that like
oh yeah.
we don't get any fixes for. So like 2.0 probably don't have any of this shite, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That sucks, but anyway, I'll search for that and go to recent and we'll get in game. So you can see here we have 2 new maps that were just added just now. So I'll go ahead and download Roundabout and get in game here. The other things in the menu though, before I do, we will have cosmetics. That's coming soon, right? And then our learn sections in here and right. And so right, the idea here, all of the mechanics in a mode, you can get a description of it. We'll have a guide, maybe tab or something, and then maps that use this mechanic. So if you really like the idea of pogoing or something, we can have you go and play the maps that use it to try it out somewhere. And yeah, every mode will have it. So yeah, look forward to that. And then yeah, of course, our beautiful settings that you can customize a bunch of stuff. You can search right for a bunch of like rocket, like change all the rocket jump stuff. Very, very nice. This is more, yeah, just like butter for you to enjoy when you get access. But yeah, we'll go ahead and play on DF Roundabout and ignore the dev commentary node that pops up. And the first thing that you see is probably everybody. Wait, what?
What?
That's weird. The bounding bugs. Oh, I see. Okay, that's weird. Anyway, well, you'll probably see first of all is the new submachine gun model. Very lovely. Oh man.
Oh, that's funny. The Conqueror needs a shrug.
The
I
Conquer.
can't do it in Defrag, so I'm just gonna try Conc this fucking thing.
But you can notice these shapes that are just kind of moving around. These are the people in the lobby. And before you ask, hey, is there ping? What's the ping to these people? There is none. And the way that this works is that we're just networking. We're just networking
to them.
Yeah, there is, but no, it's not. Sorry, it's not ping dependent gameplay. There is ping to the people that are in the lobby, but because the way that we network, it doesn't synchronize game state between you guys. It doesn't matter what your ping is to other people, right? Like we're basically. Oh God, oh no, I don't know if I can do the step ups. Shit. We're basically networking stuff as soon as we get it, right? So like as soon as you get a packet, you're like, all right, here's where I am. And this is really nice because you get the 0 ping gameplay that you're used to in single player, but you can also still, inside of your lobby tab, you can spectate people, right? And you can watch them play the map. And it is a little jittery right now, but we're working on that. We'll make it better. But yeah, you can enjoy, still spectating people in like real-ish time. I mean, like at worst it'll be like a second or two delayed, but like you'll still be able to see and learn from other people that are playing the game. So you have the best of both worlds. You have the really good gameplay with that multiplayer experience that you find on any server, right? I suck at Defrag, so I don't know how long we'll be playing this map. We can watch people that are playing it if we want to see like the map actually get completed, if somebody has a completion already.
Yeah, you have to be somewhat competent at Defrag to actually beat this.
Yeah, I'll get it. First try it real quick. Yeah, I just
progressively harder.
Oh, okay, maybe not then. Yeah, I definitely want to learn. That's why I'm making the game, right? I want to play all of these modes. So Defrag is just my least my least competent mode. Then I just don't know enough about it, like as you can tell by these strafes. This HUD, by the way, in the middle is called CGAS, and it tells you where you can actually gain speed. It's very, very necessary for the mode, so it's just added and included by default with the game and pre-configured. You can customize it. There's like ground boost indicators and stuff too. There's other elements that I don't have because I'm not really a Defrag gamer yet, but we're getting there.
You can show the ground boost indicator because I think it works in spec.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Do I have it on? Where is it? Oh, so many settings.
How well it shows
there
up.
it is.
But...
Oh, okay. That's weird. strafe these settings should be under interface.
I know. Yeah, because the settings make no look. The settings don't make any sense until we do game mode specific settings. Until we do that, I do not care about the layout of the settings.
Who should I spec, by the way, for showing off ground boost?
I can shut up if it works.
Who? Sorry.
Oh, the ground boost.
Yeah.
Oh, if we got rocket spectate Mac.
Oh, they might not work in spectate. Oh yeah, and so yeah, the rockets. Oh no, it did. It did there. It's showing like negative 250. I don't know if it's correct.
Yes, spec me.
Okay.
I think it shows that after you
Yeah,
the
so
ground boost ends, so that you know how much you.
Oh.
I think
yeah.
that's the intention. I don't remember.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm trying to jump before it hits 0. Sometimes I'll over jump it if you
Yeah.
can see that in spec. I don't know how real time it is. Ideally, you want to jump as close to 0 as possible.
Yeah.
Maximize the amount of time that you've got the slick.
Gotcha.
So yeah, if you're familiar with Defrag, you know what ground boosting is. Just a little timer.
Oh, and that's
that
late.
shows you how-
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
if
it
it's
goes red, I'll
red,
jump
it's
too late, like
late.
that.
Gotcha.
So yeah, just do a couple of late jumps.
Yeah.
So you can see, oh, I jumped 73 ticks too late. 23 ticks too late.
View models in replays? Not yet. 011, they will be. Weapons and alt state will be in it. They're in online, so now you can spectate people and watch their guns. It's a little buggy, but you know, we'll be working on it. It's not the highest priority. It's just good that it works. That's really what we're looking for.
I don't think it's in ticks. I think it's in milliseconds.
Yeah, I think it's converted to milliseconds.
Makes sense.
Zooming through it. Oh, could you jump off of that platform you missed?
You
Is that the
can, you need
shred?
to be going quite slow.
Oh yeah, okay, gotcha. Because they are.
Yeah.
Damn.
You
Okay.
need to space it so you can get a double jump towards the end, but it's tough.
Yeah. We also don't have the timer running yet, but we will try to synchronize that. It's an interesting problem because you're not on the same tick as everybody else. So we can't really use like, oh, I started on this tick as like your timer because it doesn't sync that.
Nick,
What just happened? What?
You're expecting me. Yeah.
What?
Where are you? Oh, this is like out of it.
What happened to your view model?
Oh yeah. You're like out of bounds.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you go to Momentum Man's house.
Where am I? What is? Okay, I'm confused.
Yeah, I don't know either. What is your speed right now? 624,000 units?
20 billion miles per hour.
Yeah, we need to work on the vertex and precision thing.
Yeah. That's one of the things that now that we have engine access, we can start to try to address. Or change behavior of the game entirely, right? To render the view model right now, it is rendering in world space, and Tom is so far out of the world right now that it's using floating points, and it's so inaccurate that when it's trying to draw the vertices, it's just it's like completely inaccurate doing the math to draw this. So that's why it looks like that. I'm gonna stop before somebody actually gets a seizure, but it's crazy, and it's like. That's oh damn, Happy hitting the hops. Let's go, Happy. Oh no, pressure got to him. And that's it's an interesting problem, and there are ways around it. So one of the solutions is to render the model in like kind of screen space, so relative to the camera position, as opposed to in the world, then transpose it over to where you are, which is causing that imprecision. But there's some problems there.
Shadows and stuff.
Yeah, that's the main thing. You'd have to interact with light. Yeah. If you want that still. So like how you see how the light's like bouncing off the gun right now to like illuminate it. Like right here, if I stand right here, you can see like it's brighter and then darker. So that would probably need to be factored in somehow, which I don't know. I mean, it could be possible if you get the lighting data. But yeah, so it is a problem for us because we've actually expanded the BSP limits. And in fact, if I go to probably one of the best maps
There's already a
ever
bit of a problem.
just to show you guys
for
what we've
fuck's
done for our new limits. We added climb as an April Fool's joke this year, and it's it's going back to our roots. you know, what is it? Oh my god, do I have sync HUD in this? Yeah, I mean, we added high tower, you know, but I mean, we added a couple extra layers to the tower, so I mean, you have to climb it a little bit, but yeah, this is our.
What is going on with that sync meter?
It's because I'm not jumping and strafing.
It's going hard.
Yeah. No, it's we got a little light show there. But that's what I mean, is like accessibility stuff like that could technically be seizure inducing. So we'll probably look into like I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think that's how seizure inducing stuff works. I'd have to get I think generally it needs to be like large strobing things, not just
Gotcha.
Like, I don't think this is I mean I'd have to look it up and ideally get input from someone that does have epilepsy or whatever, but
yeah. Wait, do I not have a speedometer?
Yeah, what is going on with the UI?
I don't know.
Yeah, I want to work on the HUD UI sometime soon and make it less of a mess. We've got all these cool little components, but
so hopefully nobody has vertigo. But yeah, just to kind of just drive the point home, this is the extent of our new BSP limit. You can build a map that goes this high, and this is just one axis. You can go, yeah, there's two others that you can also fill out. So maps can get a little big, and that floating point issue that Tom was showing off can happen just naturally on this map because yeah, no, it's big. So we will be trying to address you know, the problem and fix it for this map. It feels like I'm on an elevator. Like this is the fastest I can fall. And we made it. It was like a solid like minute, I think, of falling. But yeah, so that's just to show off the BSP limits. I think, you know, the biggest maps that are really taking advantage of it, probably Ahop canals. Right, like just showing that off really quick.
I love bhop canals. It's such a great map.
Yeah. Yeah, the Half-Life 2 open sections make for really great Ahop maps. Ahop canals and Ahop coasts. Really, really good. I'll play a little bit of Conc too after showing this off a little bit. But yeah.
Oh, we're actually playing good maps? Okay, I'm done.
Maybe. Just a little bit.
I'm done with some Ahop. Too bad at Defrag.
Yeah. I'm a little okay at Ahop. I may have played Half-Life 2 a little bit, and by that I mean a lot of it. So
you should try a GB Paradise. That's a pretty easy beginner map.
Oh yeah.
It's a training map. It's not like a real.
Yeah, it's only a tier 8 ground boost map. Sounds great.
Pretty much.
Doing this map consistency is just an absolute nightmare.
The fucking displacements.
It's not just the displacement, it's just the amount of shit that can happen.
Yeah.
Plus, when you mess up, you then have to swim for 6 years.
Depends on the bit, but yeah. That's the thing, is like, I just can't get a good time in this map because I just constantly reset. Like, I can do stuff fast pretty consistently, but you need to be like very consistent to actually like do good runs, because otherwise just the
it's a
good
mode.
Like 1/3 of the time, like trying to do 20 strats in a row. Just no. Ahop is dumb as hell, but it is fun.
It's so dumb, but I love it.
Is this map still just like ingrained in your muscle memory, Gok?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wait,
all my years of warming up.
Ancient HL2 strats. I should watch this. Ooh.
Oh wait, this is sharking water. That's right.
No, it's not speed. It's weird. You don't have to shark. You can jump, but like it's I don't know.
But this is all in one map, by the way. All of the individual canals maps stitched together. All the entities and story. What? Okay, I guess I need to crouch there. It's good to know. All of the entities and story and stuff removed. It's just the environment with some props, I guess, you know, the obstacles of the map. But yeah, this was put together by Ninja Cookie Scarlet on our team, and yeah, it's amazing because this is just part of the the whole like new
Crouching here?
no.
Oh.
Yeah, why is it showing up? What the
I
fuck?
don't know you were crouching though.
It shows it in my HUD. Oh, do I have toggle crouch
no.
on?
No, that's just because Half-Life 2 is dumb.
That's right.
And the
Yep,
way jump
that's
behavior
right.
works. I think we need to try. Perhaps there is a potential solution there.
Yeah, I thought there was too.
But, you know.
Yeah.
It's interesting some of the maps that are just completely different in
some Z
this
fighting on
version
that
from the
decal.
HL2 version.
Yeah.
Like this one you're coming up to, I think.
Body.
Nice.
Body.
Nice.
Yeah. It's like a glove. Yeah.
Yeah, this map there's some crazy stuff you can do to go super fast.
Oh, yeah.
Just do without full damage, as you can do this upcoming section really fast.
Yeah,
You're flying around the place, aren't you?
Yeah, slamming. No, all right, whatever. I was AFHing, but
Oh yeah,
I guess I gotta use
next
plus
section.
string.
The clipping here is such a nightmare.
Oh, okay. Got
I think the clipping in stuff like this upcoming bit is way worse than HL2 just because of auto hop and you just fly around more.
Yeah.
But maybe scroll hopping it even is better, just to sort of just sort of like a slow scroll.
I thought she might have clip brushed the ramp.
No, there's a bit that you can get a clip on.
Ah, really? That sucks. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's I mean, exactly the same. Yeah.
Right. Well, let's see if you can get shitty goals first try. If you can do that, then I'm up. Whatever, something. You know.
That was a tunnel. But yeah, I mean, even with ramp bug and stuff like improvements and stuff like that, there's still we can't beat.
No, this is displacements, which are never going to be
separate thing.
super smooth. I don't think.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, Ahop Coast did have a lot more effort put into cleaning up the displacements. Like Ninja's done a pretty good job here, but there's like Coast is like a crazy amount of displacement cleanup. Which I mean, you could maybe argue makes it a bit less. Okay, chili launch time.
No.
Oh, okay.
I bodied it at the last second. The entire thing's bodied. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Chili launch is so annoying in regular HL2.
Yeah, it takes a bit to like learn it. What?
Getting consistent.
Wait, this what?
Sucked at it.
I thought this was okay. I need to crouch more, I guess. Do I? Okay, I do not have toggle dog. It's just the movement. But yeah, no, it's a good time. Good memories. Good memories here. All right, let's see here. No, all right, whatever.
What's the world record of this after? Maybe I'm pretty sure. But who was it? Someone got a Dirt Share got a crazy good run. I think.
Yeah.
Sub 3 minutes is fast. Okay.
That's insane.
I really want to see that.
Yeah, we'll check it out. I'm beating my PB. What's that?
The one bad thing that I don't like about Ahop is that you have to memorize it. Like you need to, since you can't look forward. And I just
that's not true. That's because you're just only AVHing happening. I mean, if you want to just ASH and AFH, you totally can.
What? Bouncing.
Like just trying to do it all blind, then you don't do that.
What was the bounciest?
That was the bounciest tunnel. Oh no, I didn't curve.
Yeah. When I was working on Ahop mapping stuff years back, I was trying to do stuff with like exactly these kind of tunnels here.
Yeah.
Making them into blender models, because actually that is the best way to get consistent collision now, because they could do these like surfaces that are curving in multiple directions at once and still have perfect collision.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people don't realize is a thing. It might only be a thing in Momentum, I forget, but it's actually insanely fun for like speed control. It's just those tubes and things. Yeah, Ahop for Learn section, we don't have anyone working on that, and maybe we should reach out to community people. It's kind of hard just because with Learn we're trying to be super coordinated with it, but I don't know.
Hey, BB, let's go.
I got a gift exception. Good job, me.
Nice. Yeah. So you see, I got 25. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, let's watch that run again. Yeah, but yeah, let's Dirch's run. So this is Ahop. I know, right? Pretty cool stats at the end of the run there. So this is Ahop done by a professional. Yeah,
Don't
this
try
is
this at home.
insane. Just this route. Oh my god,
Gotta
the
get to,
perfect
like-
height?
That launch was crazy.
That was insane. And then a little bit of hop there to get in. Oh, okay, no, okay. Oh. Yeah, no weapons in the replay,
Sync
so.
up with a replay with you, but I don't. Tell me what bit you're at right now.
The gates that close with the
Oh,
helicopter.
yeah, okay, yeah.
And then turn into the right and go into the tunnel. Oh man, that was clean.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
Dirt
this
like a Half-Life 2 or like a
Yeah, I think it's your 2 runner. Let's see. Let's just time.
Do people still run Half-Life 2? I haven't really caught up with the scene.
Search is number 6. Yeah, apparently, yeah, there's people I don't recognize really. I mean, some of them I know
That's
because
cool.
they play Momentum now. There's like the
Nice.
old and Dirch.
Yeah.
Malt still has world record. It's 43:02. Fuck me. Which is 80%, unfortunately.
Yeah,
That's
no idea.
crazy fast.
Oh, I forgot about this section being opened up. Yeah, that's right. You don't have to go around the way I did.
Right, yeah, that's what I meant. Like, it's so different.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually really clean how he does this.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Yeah,
What the fuck? This route's insane. This is great.
yeah, that's really nice. Now, this is what's so cool is seeing people like actually spend the time to really get good at this in Momentum.
Oh man,
because,
so it looks like
obviously
some
this
time
isn't perfect.
here.
There's still improvements to be made,
Yeah,
but
some
like
chili
doing
launch.
this map consistently
Nice.
is really, really.
Oh
hard.
my god, what that divot in the hell yeah.
But there's even like I mean, that's just lost like 5 seconds or so in the last.
It'd be really cool to
There's
make
really a lot of.
displacement collision more consistent. To where there's like we have kind of more of a check. Maybe it's more compute heavy of like doing extra checks, but it would prevent.
Do you mean when you're getting stuck on them?
Yeah,
Like,
that's the
seams of
main
them?
thing. Yeah. Just to make it so that we can kind of bump you out of the seam. Just kind of like what ramp bug fix kind of does.
I
too.
have no idea how like displacement collisions even
Oh,
work or where the calculations.
fucking
are, but, yeah.
sniping of that ledge.
I mean, clearly
Taking
there's
it
a
home.
decent amount of time save here. I don't know. At least-
Yeah, probably a solid 20 seconds off this, I guess.
I don't know if it would be interesting if like I don't know if anyone's tasked it or just done
Oh,
a like
true.
segmented thing and recorded it. If
Once
it's
we had
like
Tassel.
2
Oh my
studies
god.
possible,
Oh
that would be
no. He
Yeah,
didn't edge bug, but
almost
he bound.
amazing, but yeah.
Damn. That was a sick run, actually. Fuck. Well, I got some Ahop grinding to do when the game comes out, so.
Yeah, getting that run is very hard.
Should have Mossman staring. No, I'm just kidding. Mossman staring at you as you care. But yeah. Yeah, so let's play the new Conc map I missed. Play some Conc.
Oh yeah, I've not actually played those maps. They look cool.
Yeah.
Aren't they quite hard?
Oh, they are.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
Anyone,
Yeah.
anyone
both
good
tier
that we can
6.
sp-
Shit. Okay. Well, fuck.
Let's just try it. Have a go.
All right. Yeah. Why not? Am I a tier 6 honker? We'll find out.
Yeah, you'll manage.
We'll find out.
Probably not.
I think there's actually some optimization we could do with shutting down maps that use CSM. Oh wow.
Oh yeah. What are they?
Planet Conc 2004.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
is this
love
it?
how like
Okay.
nostalgic all the Conc players are.
Oh god. All right. Well, I'll do my best.
Yeah. Okay.
All the Conc
What?
players are like 10 years past their prime.
Okay. Wait on.
Did anyone in the lobby beat this? Or
Why am I'm not getting boosted by it. What? Am I bad? What's happening? Okay, that almost worked.
Are you like hitting the teleport trigger before it explodes?
Conc is so.
Or I guess I'm too
Yeah.
far. I gotta drop with it. There we go. Oh fuck. Wasn't far enough for it. Yeah, no, Conc is nuts, you know? It's a very timing specific. I'm not doing it justice. This is a genuinely hard map. Tier 6 is no joke for Conc. It is from the TFC
it's not,
days.
like insanely hard, right?
Fuck. fuck.
I'm pretty sure like Barbie already has like a 4-minute time or something. Or that might be on the other XTC map.
No, 9, yeah. 9 minute, but yeah. No, it's doable. It's
What is
doable.
this texture? What is this here?
Which one? Are you looking at like the weird signs?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're all
pretty
like
good.
original TFC posters. It's great.
Yeah, I love it. It adds character.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not throw that. Okay. Damn. Yeah, it's difficult. It can get really difficult, but it's also just really entertaining to watch somebody who knows what they're doing play it. I
Conc is
don't.
one of the best stream modes.
Yeah, I can't show a replay because it doesn't have concs, so it doesn't look that great. They're just kind of floating around. But
done that already. It's just like,
yeah.
I think Slidey did it, right?
No, well, yeah, there's a branch for it, but we'd have to wipe. So, yeah, I'm genuinely looking forward to just like even like tournament. Oh my god. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to play this. I am not good. Maybe Conc Fly though. I can probably tier 3 seems about right. But yeah. But yeah, Conc comes from TFC. It's the idea that you have this grenade when you played as like Scout. Ooh. Oh, fuck off. Why is that triggered? Damn it. There we go. Oh wait, no.
Scout and Medic both have conc grenades.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Scout, Medic, and it was more of like a grenade that you could prime with a gun out, but the maps never really used the gun. So we just took the grenade and made it the main gun for the mode. I mean, you could technically add other, other like weapons and stuff. Oh, okay, easy. Oh shit, okay. Wait, no, I need to do that. Wait, can I not jump? Wait, can you not jump while crouched? Huh?
You can.
Oh,
Your duck button as your jump button unbound itself. No?
I can scroll jump. I can't press spacebar. And then spacebar normally jumps too. What is my space?
Sort of XP's webcam thing.
That's very good. God damn it.
Here's my incredibly
Um,
easy attempt to like Photoshop a decent like chunk of Nick out of like.
That's bizarre. That's probably a bug. That was probably a bug with the new defrag change. I'm surprised I'm the only person that found this. Do you think this is related to the stuff you've been doing? Because you were touching input with jumping and ducking and force crouching and stuff.
no, that's entirely in Defrag movement code. That's,
Okay.
It doesn't touch conc at all. That's
What
not
is-
input layer stuff. It's all movement code.
Right, I'm starving hungry.
I'm
I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Bye.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll play a little bit more of this and then, yeah. Oh, shit. Fuck. There we go. I had to throw it on the first beat. There we go. Oh, no. At the quad? Fuck. Okay, well, I can do it. Damn it. Yeah, I don't know why. That's definitely a bug. So we'll be looking into fixing that. I don't know why spacebar doesn't work there. Bugs, you know. No. Shit. Oh, wait. That's not it either. Damn it. Okay, I might not be able to show this off. That's fine, because we are basically at time here. That was so close. That's where I'll end it. I can't do Conc justice, but I did play a little bit of it. It's 3 hours, right? We hit our limit. We hit our limit here. So, all right. We'll go ahead. Is there anyone playing some... oh, no, there's no one streaming it. Let's see. Who should we raid? Who should we raid? Oh, okay. Al's playing. Al's playing Zelda.
That's movement related.
Ray, it is movement
We can
related.
tell him to play Defrag for once.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Okay, so we're gonna raid Al back, I guess, and tell him to play some Defrag. That'll be the raid message. It'll be please play Defrag, and your favorite smile
No
emoji.
please, no please. We can't be polite here.
Okay, fine. Just play
Defrag.
just play Defrag and your favorite smiley. But yeah, okay. Thank you all so much for watching. These are always a blast to do. So we'll be here next time too. Maybe not all of us. No, I'm just kidding. But we'll see. But thank you all for watching. Make sure to join our Discord if you aren't already. That's the best place to hang out with us. Go and enjoy some Zelda with Al. There might be some Defrag gameplay. We'll see. And yeah. Yeah, thank you all for watching. We'll catch you next time. So take care.